Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi here. It's Friday, and we playing the Wizards in Washington today. That's right. I got your preview for you for today. The referees, the latest lineup news, all the fun stuff. We got that classic card box right in front of me, so I don't forget about it. All kinds of fun stuff. Let's go, Raptor Freaks. And let's watch Scotty Barnes return to the court tonight against the Washington Wizards in the DC, baby. Yeah. All right. First things first, let's do the injuries, the lineup news real quick. Washington is only showing 2 injuries for their side of things. Sadiq Bey is out. He is on their team, but he is not available for their team. And then, you know what? It came out recently that Malcolm Brogdon, the veteran point guard who came to Washington this summer, got injured in practice in Montreal before the game on Sunday against the Raptors. And he had surgery on Tuesday on his thumb, where he I guess he had a torn ligament in his right thumb. So he had surgery on Tuesday, and Malcolm Brogdon's probably going to be out for a while. That's very convenient. In some ways, it's like Malcolm Brogdon was probably like, you know what? The Raptors are going to kick our ass, and I don't want to be a part of this. I'll go ahead and get surgery, or maybe I'll even yank my thumb on purpose. So I just don't have to come in and play in this game. So Brogdon is out. Sadiq Bey is not available. And it's basically the same crew that we saw on Sunday. Once again, Jordan Poole, Bilal Coulibaly, Kyle Kuzma, Alexander Sarr, Jonas Valanciunas, Corey Kispert, Patrick Baldwin Jr., Rashawn Holmes, Bub Carrington, Marvin Bagley III is kind of their lineup. We saw Justin Champagnie on their team also, and Kyra Lewis Jr. is also on their team, along with Johnny Davis and Anthony Gill. So, yeah, Tristan Vucevic also. Yeah, so Washington is bad. Very, very bad. Very bad. And we have no business losing to them. And tonight will be a better test against them than Montreal because, first of all, we're playing them on their home court in D.C., and second of all, we've got really bad refs today, guys. Really, really bad refs today. Oh, my gosh, I got bad refs. Let's go look at our injury report first, and then I'll tell you about the referee situation. The injuries for today are Emmanuel Quickley will not play today. It was determined yesterday in the interview with Darko Rajakovic. He confirmed that Quickley is not ready to come back, but he did say that he expects Quickley to play in at least one of the remaining preseason games. In some ways, we don't really need to see stuff from Quick. The preseason's about figuring out your roster for the whole season and getting ramped up and ready. And as Darko put it, Quickley is getting the conditioning. His conditioning is high. All kinds of things are ready for him. It's just that they're babying his wrist and they're allowing him to have non-contact in practice. He's participating in practice, but he's not taking contact. And Darko said he expects IQ to play in at least one of the remaining preseason games, one of the 3 against Boston or Brooklyn. So we'll have to see. Jacoby Walter is still out with his sprained joint shoulder, so he will not be playing today. Bruce Brown is also out, still recovering from his arthroscopic surgery on his right knee. And RJ Barrett has been already determined to miss the rest of the preseason, so he will not be available tonight also. So with the Raptors, I could speculate the starting lineup for the Raptors tonight will be, once again, Davion Mitchell starting at point guard, Grady Dick probably playing the shooting guard, Scotty Barnes and Jakob Poeltl at the 4 and the 5. And replacing, I'll give you 3 alternatives for the missing RJ Barrett. I would say Ochai Agbaji could very well be starting tonight. He was involved in the press media interview yesterday at practice and talking about how he's worked really, really hard all summer on his shooting and things. But in some ways, some of the stuff that you do in the offseason doesn't always show up in what you're doing. And that can be frustrating that you put in the work and it doesn't kind of show up and people think you didn't do anything. Well, Ochai wants everybody to know that he is really working hard, and specifically on his shot balance. There's some dumb questions this week about Ochai working on his balance with his shot. Like, somebody in the press doesn't get what that means. There was like, what does that mean, Darko, when you say his balance? It literally means his balance, you idiot. That he has to get more balanced with his jump shot when he jumps off the ground. Like, he needs to be more set. In some ways, I saw this when Abaji showed up on the Raptors last season. That he's sometimes very like some people like to do fadeaways and leaners and stuff like that. That's not the best fundamental shot. And they want this man to square up and take balanced jump shots. And that's what they've been working on with Abaji. And he's very adamant. It's not about my release. It's about how balanced my legs and my shoulders and stuff like that is. And that's what they told him to work on this summer. So I could see Abaji starting today in the place of RJ Barrett at small forward. I could also see Chris Boucher very, very possibly starting at small forward also. And then, of course, Scotty's friend Jonathan Mobo could very well be the starter also. So I present you three alternatives to RJ Barrett starting for the Raptors tonight: Abaji, Boucher, or Mobo. So it could be any of those three starting for them. But I'm pretty sure Mitchell will be starting for a quickly, and then we'll have the other three guys in there: Dick, Barnes, and Pirtle. So that's what we're looking at for our starters. Now, let's get into the refs and the issues with the refs today. We've got Tony Brothers as our crew chief tonight. Tony Brothers is not a ref that I hate. I love Tony Brothers, honestly. I think Tony Brothers is one of the best refs in the league. I really seriously believe that. But he's not a good ref for this situation today. I'm going to say that right now. Of course, we know Tony Brothers is a diehard, very patriotic American. Like this dude, when they do the anthems, he's serious. He's no joke. He's like very tuned in and very focused on the American flag and saluting just like he's in the military. That's just how Tony Brothers is. And this game's going to be in Washington. And we just played the Wizards in Montreal. And in some ways, the ref crew was so friendly to us in Montreal. Well, this crew is not going to be friendly to us in U.S. soil in the nation's capital today. They figure, well, we let the Raptors have one. Now it's time to help the Wizards. As I'm betting this is what's all about. And it's not even Tony Brothers that worries me the most about this crew. I'm telling you, Tony Brothers, of course, in his 30th season as an NBA ref out of Norfolk, Virginia. His favorite TV show is 24 with Kiefer Sutherland. You like that show, Kiefer Sutherland show 24? It's pretty good. His favorite movie is Claudine. He loves to get down to some earth, wind, and fire, guys. His favorite book is the Bible. His favorite meal is fried croakers. So we're going to need some frogs on the grill today, some fried frogs for Tony Brothers. Actually, croakers are not frogs. It's a fish. It's a fish that you get out of the Mississippi River. That we did the research on this so we could figure it out. So fried croakers is not like frog legs or anything like that. It's actually a type of fish that is prevalent in the old Mississippi, Old Man River. That's right. Favorite meal, croakers. Favorite app, Spotify. So he's jamming to the Spotify. I wonder what it would be on there. I'll bet you a bunch of good old R&B and soul music is on there for Tony Brothers Spotify. His Spotify artists for 2024 would be very stuck around the 70s and 80s, I'll bet. I'll bet you money. He'd most like to visit Israel. Not right now, Tony. Not right now. You're a great referee. You're good at mediating things, but I don't think you need to go to Israel right now, my guy. Seriously. And then his hidden talent is cooking. Yeah, Tony Brothers is one of the most infamous referees in the NBA's history in some ways, but he's also a really good guy too. He's married to Kimberly J. Brothers, and he has 6 children. Did y'all know that Tony Brothers has 6 children? Wow, that's crazy. That's an add-on to his thing. Now, Tony, our win percentage with Tony is not the best. It's under our career average for the franchise. We win 46% of our games with Tony Brothers present. And just slightly 3 percentage points more, the Wizards win. So he slightly favors the Wizards today. It's 4.57 to 0.460. So it's a 0.003 point differential in favor of the Wizards. Now, I would say this. In some ways, you could say Tony Brothers is a neutral ref today, but we got to factor in Washington's home court. We got to factor in whether the NBA wants to script right that the Wizards get to win this game in the preseason. And we also got to factor in patriotism in this whole situation also. In some ways, there is a little bit of that matters here, seriously. The second ref is one of the worst refs for the Raptors in the history of the Raptors, 30 years. And this guy is not Ed Malloy, and it's not Scott Foster. Those guys are really bad, but this guy is one of my top 3 worst refs with those 2 guys. Is Murat Kugat. We got Murat Kugat, the magician. His 15th season out of Kyiv, Ukraine. He grew up in New York, though, guys. And he is once again another very patriotic kind of person. Like he really loves the United States. And God is not a good person for us. Let's just put it that way. He's annoying. His favorite TV show is Family Guy. His favorite movie is Catch Me If You Can with Leonardo DiCaprio. He likes to listen to Billy Joel. Like Kugat, he may be from Ukraine, but he really is kind of a New York guy. You know, he likes New York things and stuff like that, like Billy Joel. His favorite book is Tuesdays with Maury. He likes to eat sushi. His favorite app is Amazon. Gross. That's gross, Murat. Most like to visit Japan. Okay, that's a more safe place to go visit. And his hidden talent, of course, is being a magician. That's why I call him the magician, because he is a magician guy. And he's so annoying. Kugat immigrated to the United States with his family 7 days after he was born in the Ukraine, and he was raised in Brooklyn, New York. He started officiating at age 16 at local recreational youth leagues. Yeah, he's annoying, man. He is one of the worst refs for the Raptors statistically ever. He's the longtime ref that has the lowest win percentage with us. We win 35% of our games with Kugat. He's absolutely the worst plus 10-year ref for the Raptors. And meanwhile, listen to this. The Wizards win 46% of their games. So it's 35-46 for the Wizards with the magician Murat Kugat. It is really, really a bad scene that he's showing up. He has shown disdain and bad calls towards us perennially every single season since I've been doing this really, really microscope on the referees and their impacts with the Raptors. The Kugat is the worst, guys. I'm telling you right now. So in some ways, the Raptors can't be messed around. They got to play like they did on Sunday and absolutely destroy the Wizards, because the referees are not going to help them in any kind of way. In fact, they may try and hurt them. So if this game is close at all, watch for Kugat. He will probably try and screw us over. So there's a very high possibility of ref manipulation tonight, specifically from the middle ref, the magician, Murat Kugat. The third ref is an unknown. There's no profile for them. And I believe they're a G League ref or a WNBA ref. Their name is Agan Abazi, number 7 in the referee community, the NBA. There's no profile. I have no records on this referee with the Raptors. I do believe this is a G League ref that is getting a tryout with a big-time crew in this game. So I can't say anything about Agan Abazi, who is the third ref today. So, yeah, the ref crew is not our friend today. This is not a good ref crew for the Raptors today. So, seriously, Raptors, really watch out. Play tight, play smart, play with each other, and communicate like crazy. In some ways, this is not a fair matchup, the Raptors versus the Wizards, because the Wizards are so discombobulated and just not a very good team together that we need to continue to be the much better team in teamwork, high percentage shooting with good shots, and dogged defense like Mitchell and Shed showed on the guards for the Wizards on Sunday. We're going to have to continue the same recipe of what worked on Sunday in Montreal in Washington. Now, I'm just saying, in some ways, these guys can do it. I believe in the Raptors. I think we will win today, but there's a lot more against them in this game in Washington tonight, whether it's Washington being at home, whether it's the refs being kind of buttheads, honestly. So, yeah, there's your ref report. There's your latest lineup news and my projections for who I think is going to start. The Raptors are really communicating at a high level these days, and it's really showing with the connection and the fun and how much everybody is really enjoying being on the team together as a group. And I hope that this will continue to translate to really, really good outcomes on the court as far as making great passes and getting really good baskets. Darko's philosophy of working the ball around to get the best high percentage shot is a fantastic one. And in the NBA, where there's so many selfish guys jacking up shots at almost half court like Jordan Poole, this is a really good way to get an advantage over other teams that are playing kind of lazy and kind of not off each other. Isolation basketball has its place. In some cases, it's very important and crucial moments at the end of the game where you got to just break it down and you give it to a guy like LeBron and say, take us home. But in a lot of cases, the meat and potatoes of time on an NBA court is much better utilized as a team sport once again, where guys are playing off each other. And when the Raptors get most of their baskets off of assists, that's always a good indicator that things are running smoothly. So I hope to have a continuation of that kind of stuff for the team tonight against the Wizards. Yeah, let's see what y'all are saying in the chat today. Trevor J is here, Commissioner Fun, on vacation, having fun in the country of Portugal. Let's see what he's saying here. Don't let the tough moments in life pull you away from the fact that you are blessed. Keep your focus on the good things and remember how fortunate you truly are. Yeah, I practice this every day. Every day. Tough moments in life are going to come and go, and you got to deal with them. And in some ways, you got to keep centered and grounded by realizing just how blessed you are. And there are a whole bunch of other things, maybe the tough things that, man, I'm just so happy for this person or this situation or to have this in my life. I'm grateful. And that's the best way to get through adversity, is to show gratitude. And that, thank you, Trevor, for your words of wisdom once again. Yeah, Trevor's saying Bruce Brown was Santa yesterday. Yeah, he was, wasn't he? He was like Cowboy Santa. Yeah, gave everyone cowboy boots. He truly doesn't want to leave Toronto. I could see it as that, or I could just see it as an interesting flex by him, or I don't know. I don't know how to read this. I think it's cool. I think it's very cool that Bruce showed up with a pair of cowboy boots for every single player on the team and the traveling group of the Raptors when they go on the road. So I'm thinking John Lee got a pair, and a lot of other people that just work for the Raptors, not just the coaches, not just the players, but like the equipment manager, the strength and conditioning coach. All kinds of people got cowboy boots yesterday. And I don't know if Bruce has a deal with the company endorsing or whatnot. I think it's kind of cool because we've seen other players in the league go around and give items to their teammates at the beginning of the year. Famously, Giannis gives shoes to his teammates quite often every single year. You'll see him come with a cart with a bunch of boxes of shoes on it, and he'll wheel in. He'll just start handing out his own shoe to all his teammates. We've also seen players give out watches and things like that to teammates at different times. Well, Bruce is doing his action is cowboy boots. And it seemed like they went over really well. Darko has not tried his boots on, but he's like, yeah, it was funny how he's describing Bruce in the interview yesterday, saying that, yeah, Bruce is his style. He's just a country guy. It's kind of funny. But yeah, it'll be kind of funny to see if Darko wears his boots at any time and where he wears them and stuff like that. The other guys there was some footage of them doing country line dancing yesterday because they got these boots. So, and we did see Bruno Fernando there enjoying getting the boots. So I don't know if my news about Bruno yesterday is totally true, although there is more evidence today to see that there is kind of something going on there on the Instagram. And we'll talk about that in a sec. But yeah, Bruce Brown, you're amazing. And wow, I wonder how Scotty feels about his cowboy boots. I'll bet you he wear them just for fun. Scotty does listen to country music. We know that from his Twitch stream. So yeah, very cool, Bruce Brown. Now, whether that means he wants to be here or not, I don't know about that. I think it's just a very classy thing he's doing. I think in some ways it's a great message to his team and the fans. That in some ways, like, oh, Bruce doesn't hate being a Raptor. He's giving cowboy boots to the Raptors. So even though he may be just doing this and it doesn't care, and he's like, yeah, I'll give him the boots, and if I get traded tomorrow, I don't care. So I don't know. I mean, Bruce Brown is really kind of a weird player in the Raptors history because in some ways we've never really accepted him or wanted him here. But he's totally accepting being here himself, being an ultimate pro, showing up and doing stuff like this. And he may be this guy that gets traded anytime now, and he'll be thankless. And it will be just a blip in the whole Raptors history. But in some ways, the dude kind of deserves our respect and kind of deserves to the Raptors fans' admiration. Because you know what? He's doing what he's supposed to be doing in his situation. And in a day and age in the sports where guys are just jackasses and doing all kinds of crazy stuff, RJ Hampton, that, having a good character guy like Bruce Brown, who's in a very awkward situation where it's like very evident he is a trade piece and that somebody going to trade him. Yeah, Bobby's going to probably trade him at some point. And he could have been traded anytime last year. He still comes and he plays. And I don't think he's totally given effort last year, but part of it was because he was hurt. Well, this year we'll have to see. Will he be on our team by the time he heals from his knee surgery? I don't know. But what a weird story. And it's like every Raptor has had their own Raptor career or story around being a Raptor. With his Kawhi for 1 year, a Finals MVP. With his Bismack Biyombo for 1 year doing this. Bruce Brown may only be a Raptor for 1 year. But what a weird story about Bruce Brown Jr. being a Raptor is what I'll say. Yeah, everybody get your cowboy boots. Yeah. Trevor's saying the Minnesota Lynx upset the New York Liberty in overtime. And WNBA commissioner said that in 2028, there will be 16 teams. That's fantastic. I wish that they'd have these teams coming in pairs. And I really do have a theory right now that Ed Rogers really screwed things up for the WNBA and Toronto's team in particular by not allowing the schedule to happen where it was supposed to. In some ways, he did a real favor to the Golden State Valkyries, because what should be happening right now is that the Toronto WNBA team should be on the same schedule as the Valkyries, and we should be playing next season. But because MLSE rejected the WNBA team, the first bid, and we got the bid in this year after, we're coming in a year after we're supposed to. And well, the Valkyries will get a very clean expansion draft where they can just pick from all the other teams by themselves. And when we come into the league next year, we're going to have to pick with the Portland WNBA team, unfortunately. If it was Kathy Engelbert's decision, she would have teams coming in as pairs and treating them the same way. So in some ways, this is an unfair advantage for the Valkyries that they're going to get an expansion draft by themselves. And we're going to have to come in with the Portland team and have to pick from the expansion list at the same time as the Portland team. That's not good. And in theory, you could think, well, they're going to add another team the year after. They're going to get to come in by themselves and get their own expansion draft, just like the Golden State Valkyries. So in some ways, I'm all about fairness. And I can look at the parameters of rules and the way things are happening, and I could be like, this is not fair to Teresa Resch and the WNBA team, Toronto team, right away. That in some ways, all the WNBA expansion teams should be coming in as pairs. And because the Valkyries are going to come in by themselves because Ed Rogers delayed us getting our team, that's screwed up. Nobody's going to talk about this in the media. Nobody's going to talk about this, but the Raptor Freak's got his eyes open, and he can see right through this. So, yeah, good job by the Lynx. The biggest comeback in WNBA Finals history, coming back from down 18 to seal the deal and make it happen like that. Fantastic stuff. It's exciting, and they're getting a lot of good attention, and people really got into the game last night. It's like people are at bars, and they're watching the WNBA Finals instead of football, and that is not something that's been common over the last few decades of the WNBA's existence. So fantastic stuff. They're arriving. And it's good excitement for the finals game right now. Yeah, very, very good. Now, the WNBA has announced yesterday that they are going to make the finals next year a best of 7, which is fantastic. I mean, that's more money, right? A best of 7 means there possibly could be 7 finals games. And then also they're going to expand the regular season for the WNBA to 44 games. So this is all fantastic stuff. Expansion with teams, expansion of finals series, and expansion of the season itself. Very, very good expansion going on with the WNBA right now. Fantastic stuff. Monique is back in the chat with us. Love to see Monique live in the morning. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew, and happy game day. Welcome back, Scotty. Play like last game, and we got it. It's the Wizards. Yeah, I hope so. In some ways, I don't want to see any shenanigans. I don't want to see no magic tricks, Marat. I really, really don't. You better it down the line. And if I see you doing anything crazy, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow on my reaction. That's right. I'll call you out. Tony Brothers, right down the line. A reward effort, Tony, please. Our guys are going to come out there and outplay and out-hustle the Wizards tonight, and you better be calling it in our favor because you see the effort and the heart is on the side of Jamal Sheds. So, Tony, please don't be crazy and do anything weird. And Marat Kugat, I don't trust you, bro. I really do not trust that guy. That guy is, oh, man, he's the worst. Statistically, he is the worst veteran ref for the Raptors in the league. I'm telling you, it's so bad. So bad. But good morning to you, Monique. This game's going to be tougher than Sunday, just so you know. Nako's saying, Lex, please sing the Casper Cha-Cha slide. Is that the song that they were playing over the interviews yesterday when Oshai Abaji's trying to answer the questions to the journalists and these guys are dancing around in their cowboy boots? Yeah, I think that's what it was. It's like to the left, slide to the left, to the right, clap, 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 clap your hands, clap your hands. Is that what it is, Gerald? Is that what you wanted me to sing right there? Clap, 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 to the left, to the right, clap, 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 clap your hands, clap your hands. Is that what it is, Gerald? I think that's what you wanted me to do. I think that's what the song you wanted me to sing. Casper, is that the ghost or is that the mattress company? I don't know. Casper, the friendly ghost. La, 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 la. All right, let's keep going. Monique saying, happy retirement, Danny Green. Great messages from everyone, even me. Yeah, Danny Green announcing suddenly yesterday during the stream. We did talk about it on the stream for a second yesterday. That the news that came out that Toronto Raptors champion Danny Green has retired from his basketball playing career. That means he's not even trying to go play in Europe or anything like that. Why would he? You know, we got to remember Danny Green has been in this league a long time. Like, and seriously, like this dude came in and like he's on an old video game of mine that's like really old, and Mark Gasol and Kyle Lowry and Serge Ibaka are on it, and so is Danny Green, and that's how I know that this is like an old player. And in some ways, yeah, he probably should have maybe retired a year ago. I don't even know what he was doing like a year ago. Maybe he was around Memphis. That's right. He was kind of goofing around on Memphis, being like the good twin of Dylan Brooks on Memphis for a little while. But yeah, Danny is retired officially, and he said on Twitter, well, if you want to find me, come watch me on my YouTube show, The Green Room, with Harrison, with his friend Harrison or whatever his name, Sanford, Harrison Sanford, or something like that. So yeah, The Green Room and broadcasting career, that's the next thing for Green Ranger. And we do wish him all the best in his retired life and the endeavors that he's going towards at this point in his life. Yeah, Danny, you will always be a Toronto Raptors champion, a Spurs champion, and a half-assed Laker champion. We'll just put it that way. Yeah, bubble championship. In some ways, it doesn't count. Come on, man. In some ways, it doesn't count. But yeah, Danny Green, congratulations on your career. And you're always welcome up here in Toronto. We'll celebrate you in your achievements and your accomplishments with our franchise in 1 year, getting a championship with us in 2019. That's right. Daniel's here. Good to see Daniel Barry, Sports Highlights. Morning, everyone. Morning to you, Daniel. I hope you're having a great Friday morning, TGIF. And we got some Raptors basketball to watch tonight, my man. So let's get ready. Get the sports highlight reel ready, George Michael. That's right. I feel like Daniel Barry's like our George Michael sports machine. It's like, yeah, you ever watch that, Daniel? George Michael's Sports Machine was an awesome sports show that was on in the States when I was a kid. It's not George Michael, I want your sex or faith because I got to have faith. No, it's George Michael, the sportscaster. And he's pretty cool, George Michael. If y'all know who George Michael is, you're old. Let's just say that. Not the singer, George Michael, but George Michael Sports Machine. If you know who he is, you're old officially. That's right. Kareem Thomas is here, the butt dialer, the full ass, the dunk champion, the creme de la creme of funniness on this channel. This guy is a comedian. He is a dormant comedian that is not participating in that for his occupation, but he could. He could. I'll tell you that right now. He's saying, man, WNBA. This year is a gift that keeps on giving. Yeah, I believe that's true. I'm excited, man. Ooh, I can't wait to enter the fray. The Toronto WNBA team has entered the chat. Let's go. Let's go, Teresa Resch. And let's name our team very soon so I know how to call them very, very soon. He's saying, Kareem's saying, I thank y'all for allowing me in the WNBA fantasy, and having Nafisa Williams on my squad automatically makes me a fan of the Minnesota Lynx. There you go. See, this is a gateway drug, fantasy sports. In some ways, I never watched the NFL until I played fantasy sports in the mid 2000s. I never did. I never got into the NFL. I was a college football guy. I was at Florida State Seminoles, ACC, college football kind of guy growing up because the Seminoles were very good. But I never watched the NFL. I didn't have an NFL team that I really cared about that much. The Buccaneers, maybe a little bit. But then when I started playing NFL fantasy, it was a gateway to learning about the league. And I learned so much about the league. I got really into it and I knew all the players, and I played fantasy, NFL fantasy for 10 years. And then I quit when they blacklisted Colin Kaepernick. But I found that playing fantasy sports is a great gateway to really getting into it, and exactly what Kareem Thomas is saying. He had a vested interest in Nafisa. and he wanted to see the Lynx do well. And now all of a sudden he's a Lynx fan cheering for them in the finals because he played WNBA fantasy this year. And that's great. That's fantastic. That's exactly the intended result that I was hoping with their league that we've done the last 2 years. And well, let's keep getting more people into it by continuing to play. And boy, we're all going to be into our Toronto team when we get it. When we get that Toronto team, it's going to be awesome. Kareem, thank you for being here this morning, and we'll continue to talk some more in this chat. Trevor's saying Cleveland lost 2 preseason games. They're 0-2. So the Cavs are down 0-2 in the preseason. Okay, that's interesting. You'd have to see who they played against in some ways. Of course, they had the Lakers versus the Bucks last night, and the Lakers won. It's kind of a grudge match. In some ways, there's details that have come out about JJ Redick and Doc Rivers and them not really seeing eye to eye. Doc Rivers being very critical of JJ Redick. And then, of course, Darvin Ham being the former coach of the Lakers from last year, now an assistant coach under Doc Rivers in Milwaukee. Yeah, it's a little bit of a grudge match last night between LeBron's team and Giannis Antetokounmpo's team last night. But the Lakers prevailed in Milwaukee. So LeBron had to get up and get on the jet and go to Milwaukee, but they won. I don't even know what Bronny did, though. I'm sure he didn't do a whole lot. Monique is saying, I love how very locked in Darko is, helping Ochai Agbaji with his shooting and confidence. Yeah, Agbaji is an interesting project for the Raptors. In some ways, he made it very clear what his role is when he was in his interview yesterday, Ochai, saying, I'm supposed to be one of those guys that takes one of the toughest guys to guard on the other side and lock them down. So in some ways, it's very true. Oshai's doing an OG kind of role as far as, Scotty and him may get the 2 toughest defensive assignments. If Ochai starts tonight, Scotty's probably going to guard Kuzma, and Ochai probably has to chase around Jordan Poole. And that's a great matchup as far as like Ochai Agbaji just trying to keep up and run around and having some strength also to guard a skinny little guy like Poole that falls on the floor. So, that's the thing. In some ways, everybody's waiting for Agbaji to just explode offensively. It's not going to happen. His priority is the defense and being really sound on the defense. And all the stuff that happens outside on the offensive end is just gravy, as I've said before. It's like he's not a primary scorer for us, but we do need him to make his open shots and make the other team stay honest and guarding him on their end. So, it's a complicated thing. But anybody who wants Ochai to just start dropping 15 per game or something like that, it's not going to happen. In some ways, this guy is a defensive kind of player for us. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that kind of role for him. I think it's a good role for him, honestly. Evelyn saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Good morning to you, Granny Evelyn, our swag master. Evelyn has returned to the chat. We love Granny Evelyn so much. And it's so happy to see her. She's saying, did you enjoy the Aurora Borealis last night? I didn't even know that was going on. I was like, Aurora Borealis. Wait, what? What? No, I guess I was just watching TV. I was like watching old, like Heart to Heart. And I don't know. I was watching Bewitched. I don't even know why I was watching old reruns like Nick at Night last night. It was very interesting. But no, I didn't even realize this was going on. So I didn't see it, Evelyn. I probably could see it really well out here up north, but I probably should have went and looked at it. She's saying, hoping that the Raptors will have a good game tonight. Let's go Raptors. Yeah, tonight's a must-win game to me in some ways. If we don't win, it's preseason, sure. But it'll make reacting to the game tomorrow a lot more fun if the Raptors win tonight. And like I said, Tony Brothers, Marat Kugat, and Agan Abazi, it's not the best referee crew. And in some ways, it's a signal that they're going to favor the Wizards tonight. So just so y'all know. And Ref Report's pretty good at determining this stuff. Tony, you're on the level kind of ref to me. In some ways, you reward hard work. Let's keep that on the level, rewarding hard work kind of mentality. You're the crew chief tonight. Don't let Kugat run this game tonight. In some ways, it could be that Tony's just taking the night off and Marat is running the whole thing. That's a problem. That's a problem for the refs, for us. So we need to be very, very on top of things and play a very, very ethical game that's clean and just play very well together. Because I'm telling you, these guys are not going to be looking out for us tonight. Like, Mark Lindsay and his crew on Sunday was a favorable crew for us. This one isn't. I'm going to tell y'all right now. And this is the Wizards. The Wizards have a really bad record for years and years. And they managed to pick some refs that have better records with the Wizards than the Raptors. So that says everything right there. That says everything right there. Evelyn, let's go Raptors. That's right. Bryce is here. Bryce Lawson in the K-Tuck, holding it down for us stateside in the Bluegrass State. Frog legs. Yeah, I wish it was frog legs, but croakers are actually fish. It's a fish and has no legs. So, yeah, croakers, I would think they were like ribbit, but no, they're a fish. They're fried fish out of the Mississippi River. That's right. That's right. Let's see. Seymour saying, if we come out strong like last game, I'm sure we'll be fine in this 8 versus 5 game. See, yeah. And in some ways, that's the way we got to look at it. This could be a very good test for the young Raptors who are just learning, the rookies, to see unfairness from the refs, specifically the magician. And in some ways, Mobo and Shamshay and Carlson and Jamal Shed, they need to learn the hard knocks life of the NBA and maybe the unfairness of the refs. And there may be some of these lessons tonight, guys. There may be some of these lessons tonight. I agree with what Seymour's saying, that I think that we can win in an 8 versus 5 game where the referees are not on our side, because we're that much better than the Wizards. And I'm really hoping. Now, a big part of it's going to be Scott. Scotty has done well in games that have been refereed by Tony Brothers. Tony Brothers, in some ways, has shown that he kind of likes Scotty. I've seen them talk to each other, and Tony's very smiling and very affable and kind of like, that young man Barnes, he's really got a good head on his shoulders. He's one of the good ones coming up in the league. I feel like there's a little bit of that going on, that there's some sort of respect between Tony Brothers for Scotty Barnes. So hopefully that'll happen. Scotty, you're the man. You're the franchise face. And tonight, make your will shown on the court. The marquee matchup tonight is Scotty Barnes versus Kyle Kuzma. It is a kind of a grudge match because these guys have had butted heads a few times in Scotty's young career. Of course, they had the very famous matchup at the Powder League in Utah a couple summers ago where they dropped major points on each other in the Utah Summer League and Pro-Am. And yeah, in some ways, Kyle got the best of Scotty in that matchup by winning. But both of them had like triple doubles, and it was insane. They scored like almost 50 points each. So Scotty, get Kyle back. In some ways, Kyle has not been playing well in preseason. I think he has 5 preseason points between 2 games. And in some ways, you need to kick Kyle Kuzma's ass tonight, Scotty Barnes. Whatever you do to motivate yourself for, let's be great. And let's get out there and look at your counterpart and say, I'm going to beat Kyle Kuzma's ass tonight. And I'm going to beat it really bad. And that's how we can win. Because in some ways, Dargo said this. You got to look at who's across from you on the piece of paper in the matchup. And you got to beat your matchup. You got to outplay them. You got to outscore them. You got to lock them down. You got to play that way, Scott. So let's look at counterparts and take it to them and outplay them. And hopefully the team outplays the other team overall because of that also, by your leadership. That's what I'm saying right there. That's right. That's right. Kareem's saying, sorry, Seymour, but our bench is too deep. It's actually 15 versus 8. Now, that would be great. But we can only play 5 people at once, and there will be 8 people on the court, and 3 of them will be refs. And in some ways, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, Kareem, but we can't play all 15 at once. That's part of the problem. Nako's saying, I think we got this. Nobody on the Wizards is as good as RJ. Never mind Scotty. Yeah, RJ's not playing tonight, and neither is Quick. So much like in the first showcase, but RJ, all he needed was 14 minutes to showcase what he was going to do. Well, I'd like to see Scott get a full 20 because he hasn't played in a while, and I'd also like to see him absolutely dominate. In some ways, Scotty, you should be kind of like this dog that's been at home, waiting for the owner to get home and let them out in the yard. That's how you should be feeling right now. You should be very anxious and anticipatory of coming to the game tonight in Washington and playing once again, the first time since like February, since you played. Like February or March is the last time you played, dude. So in some ways, you should have that gumption, just like that dog running around chasing its tail, waiting for the owner to come let them out so they can go outside. Not just because you have to pee, but because you're very excited, because you're ready to come back and play in an NBA game. That's right. So it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So we're going to have to see. Cool Cat's here. Good morning, Raptor Free Crew. Good morning to you, Coach Cool Cat. Always good to see you check in. I am Shake this here also. Any hardcore American ref don't fuck with Toronto. Yeah. In some ways, it's like, look, Kugat is Ukrainian. And in some ways, but he's never really been like a foreign guy. If you hear him talk, he talks like an American. In some ways, he checks off some boxes for the NBA as far as diversity hires. People talk about DEI. Well, in some ways, the referees for the NBA very much DEI hired in certain ways to show diversity for sure. In fact, they did something recently on the Hispanic Heritage Month on the NBA refs Twitter account, and they talked to the 3 NBA refs that are Hispanic. And I was kind of like, this is it? Y'all only have 3 Hispanic refs? It's almost like they got Ray Acosta to be the male Hispanic ref. They got Shea Flores, who's playing, who is the they are a ref also that is of Hispanic origin, but also they are trans, and they check off a couple of other different boxes for their DEI hires. But yeah, I'm just saying that in some ways, Kugat, he's like they had to get some of these refs that have foreign flavor to them, like Matt Callio from Edmonton for Canada. And they got, like people like Evan Scott, who has South Korea background, and different people that, Kugat, it checks off this European guy, even though he's not European in any kind of way other than his name and him being born in Ukraine. The guy came here so young when he's such a baby. He's raised in New York. He's a New Yorker. And in some ways, like I said, him and Tony Brothers are 2 of the most patriotic American refs in the league right now. They're very patriotic. You can watch them. This is the thing. I watch everything when I go to the games. You can watch those refs when they do the anthems, and they're very solemn and very serious about it. Tony takes the country of America very seriously, just so you know. And this game being in the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., in a political election year, well, we'll just have to see how it goes. In some ways, like I'm saying, I'm reading the situation, and I'm saying this is a really bad ref crew for tonight. And there may be some hit jobs going on tonight, just so y'all know. Maybe some hit jobs. Kareem saying, I can't imagine losing to a team whose 2 best players are Kuzma and Poole, which both would be on limited minutes. Those guys may be technically the best players on the Wizards right now, but they aren't really. The youngsters are. Sarr's going to end up being better than those 2 guys probably. Watch. Over time, he probably will be. The 7-footer can shoot the 3, stuff like that. And also Koulibaly. Koulibaly's coming up. So the 2 French guys on that team may very well be more franchise-type players. And these jabronis that are just in those spots right now, yeah, they're just holding them for somebody young on that team to come up and be more the franchise face. Kyle Kuzma doesn't take his NBA career seriously. And Jordan Poole is a pool on the floor of water, is basically what he is right there. That's right. Seymour says he wants a dunk for the dunk champ, Kareem. Yeah, we can do that. Let's do that real quick. We're going to give Kareem another dunk. He's done so well. And what a great call yesterday, Kareem. What a fantastic call into the call-in show yesterday. 358. We're going to give you a 5-pointer there. 358, Kareem Thomas on the dunk charts. And Seymour saying, how about them Ruffles chips? Who tried them? I wasn't able to get out and get them. But if somebody else tried the new 30th anniversary Raptors Ruffles spicy all dressed chips, please give us your reviews on these fantastic, amazing item that's popping up at 7-Elevens across Canada right now. Seriously, I want to know, how do you feel about the spicy all dressed 30th anniversary Toronto Raptors Ruffles bag that's out there? You can find it at the store. It's got purple on it and the 30 on it. So you can find it and try it just like our man Seymour did yesterday. That's right. Kareem wants to go right back to Seymour and give him a dunk. I like this. All right, so Seymour Pape, you're getting a dunk from Kareem. One hand washes the other, obviously, this morning. So 157 for the City Slicker. Now out in Calgary, Alberta, holding it down for us in the center of the country there. There you go. Monique saying T-Mac opened up on KG certificate his time in Toronto. I saw this interview, and it's kind of silly. In some ways, it just kind of it's just common knowledge. T-Mac said, his time in Toronto, he was on a leash because he was so young, honestly. And it's weird because, I mean, you could really look at this time, and I remember it very well. When Vince came to the team, he kind of exploded right away, and they didn't put him on a leash. Meanwhile, Tracy, even though he had been in the league longer than Vince, was still having to come off the bench. And in some ways, our coaches were holding Tracy back. In some ways, they were doing Tracy's career growth in the right steps, like we've been talking about recently, like Darko talking about how he learned from Coach Popovich It's important with a young, very, very, very talented player like Victor Wembanyama or Ulrich Shamshe to not skip any steps and really take your time in developing those guys as they come in. Well, that's what they were doing with McGrady when he came to the Toronto Raptors around the turn of the century. That is like, look, they weren't rushing Tracy. He was so young, and in some ways, because he was straight out of high school, they needed to give him some more time. But in some ways, Tracy was saying in the Garnett thing, I could have done more. It's just they didn't let me. They didn't let me. But then they let Vince. And in some ways, it's because Vince was just such a phenomena. And he came in and he could start right away. And he was getting all the minutes. He was getting all the shine. And meanwhile, Tracy was on that development path like a Shamshe would be, like a Victor Wembanyama would be. And it's too bad. In some ways, it's like you can't really compare Tracy McGrady's career in Toronto to his Orlando or Houston career because he was so young and he was really in those early development years with us. So it's an interesting thing that he talks about with Kevin, but it's very matter of fact. And in some ways, it's just what it is. It's like, what can you do? You know, Tracy McGrady in Toronto is not the same Tracy McGrady in Orlando, obviously. It's not. It's not. Kaz is here. Good to see Kaz on the road. Kaz 2929. Good morning with the spray paint and the Raptors 30th logo. I love it. I love it. Kareem saying, how cool will it be if the whole staff came out in cowboy boots and overalls? I don't know how cool that would be. I don't know if that's cool. Now they can't play in that stuff, so maybe not the players. Maybe the staff comes out and wears cowboy boots. Maybe the NBA's like, y'all are ripping up the Washington Wizards floor with your cowboy boots, like putting dents in it. Like, what are you doing, Darko? It's like, hey, we got these boots from Bruce. We want to break them in. We got to break them in. If we don't break them in, we'll get blisters. So we need to wear them all the time right now. But you're messing up the Wizards floor with your hard boots. Hey, listen, we're going to do the Deuce Boogie. Yeah, they're doing country line dancing on the side of the court. Vin Bagnani and Pat Delaney and Evo and Mike Batiste, all them, Coco. They're like all in cowboy boots, and they're all in a line. They're like country line dancing, something like that. That'd be weird, man. That'd be really weird. Like, what if Bruce Brown gave the Raptors magical cowboy boots that made everybody just a little more country? Yeah, seriously. Maybe on the down low, that's true. Maybe it is. Like, maybe magically, like one of the young Raptors put the boots on, like DJ Carton. He's like, oh my gosh, now I want to ride a horse. Now I want to go and rustle up some tumbleweed or something like that. I don't know. I mean, that could happen. Bruce Brown Jr.'s magical cowboy boot experience. I have no idea. Just riffing on this, man. I'm just riffing. Brian's here. Good to see Brian from To The Point King. What's up, man? TGIF. Dap. What's up, Freak Nation? Who do you guys think will take over for RJ? I think it might be Mitchell. Well, Mitchell will play for Emmanuel, and I'm guessing Ochai Agbaji will be in the starting lineup today. In some ways, they've been showing him in the interview yesterday. They're probably prepping him up for it. In some ways, Agbaji is the next guy kind of in line in the hierarchy of the Raptors depth chart to kind of step in at small forward if RJ Barrett is out. And they asked Ochai yesterday in the interview, is like, well, with RJ out, the young guys are going to get more experience or chances, more opportunity, you. And he totally deflected it. He's like, yeah, it'll be great for our two ways and our exhibit 10s and our guys that don't get a lot of playing time to come in there. He didn't even say anything about himself getting the opportunity with RJ out with this separated shoulder. So I think it's Agbaji. My educated guess, the Raptor Freak is putting any kind of something down as far as things. I'm going to say Ochai Agbaji is going to be the starter at small forward in the place of Barrett, is what I'm thinking. Brian, dap to you. And y'all follow To The Point. Great Canadian basketball YouTube channel. Brian has all kinds of good content on that channel. Give him a subscribe, guys. Nako's saying, I don't think Bruce would do it if he didn't like his teammates, even if he wasn't meant for long. Yeah, in some ways, listen, we've seen Bruce Brown spend money extravagantly since he's been on the Raptors. I mean, he did pay Jonte Porter for his number, right? Right? That happened last season when he showed up. Jonte had his number, and he's like, I want my number, Jonte. And he paid him like $10,000. And then, well, Jonte did what Jonte did, and it's kind of like Bruce could have just gotten his money. In some ways, maybe that money that Bruce Brown gave Jonte Porter for his money is now being used to pay for bail. Seems like that's very plausible, right, Brian Winders? I mean, seriously. But yeah, it's true. It's weird. Bruce Brown, in some ways, he's got weird flexes, bro. It's like, yeah, I know that the Raptors are going to trade me, but I'm still going to show up to the extension announcement for Scotty Barnes and Manuel quickly in the middle of the summer and sit right up front and show I'm bought in. Yeah, I'm going to show up for this. I'm going to show up for that. In some ways, I honestly have to say I'm impressed with Bruce Brown Jr.'s professionalism in this very, very open, awkward situation that he's been in since he got traded to the Raptors from the Pacers. As far as it's very known that he's going to get traded at any moment. That this dude's he doesn't care. He's unflappable. He said it when he came in. He's like, I'll do whatever Masai wants me to do. If Masai wants me to stay here and play on the Raptors and help y'all, I will. If he wants to trade me, then that's fine too. I mean, I have to honestly, I like the guy just because he's been so flexible and he is showing some sort of like connection to our team, even if he knows he's not long for it. It's very, very strange. And in some ways, it really speaks to the person who Bruce Brown Jr. is. So listen, Bruce, in some ways, you're getting in my good book without even doing anything on the court. It's very, very weird. It's very weird because in some ways, I was not thrilled that you were in the package coming from Indiana for Pascal Siakam last season. I was like, what? This is the best player we're getting for Siakam? I'm like, what? It's the first round picks, Lex. It's not Bruce Brown. It's the first round picks that matter for him, not Jordan Wara. No. But in some ways, it's like Bruce has been an ultimate pro. And he's going to make them do the dope boogie. Oh, man. Seymour saying, as a city slicker, I can't see myself in a cowboy hat or boots. Calgary is full of it, and I'm too Scarborough. See, this is what I'm saying. It's like Seymour is the antithesis of Bruce Brown. He's taking the city to the country, while Bruce Brown is bringing the country to the city of Toronto. And in some ways, for every cowboy boot that Bruce Brown gave out yesterday, City Slicker is giving out baseball caps that have the Mets on there, like Billy Crystal. He tried to give it to Jack Palance. Jack Palance looked at Billy Crystal and said, "You're a worm of a man. You're not a real man out here, City Slicker." I love that dichotomy. It's like maybe Seymour Pape is the inverse of Bruce Brown Jr. Very interesting. Smooth's here. Good to see Smooth Brown, man. The classic card champion, a.k.a. Ahmad Rashad. Let's see what's up. 21 million to live in Toronto. Bruce is loving it, man. Yeah, the dude's contract's awesome. And that's part of it. It's going to expire this year, and it's very attractive to other teams. So in some ways, yeah, in some ways, Bobby and Masai are waiting for that right deal. Probably the deals that have been rumored this week with teams like Minnesota and New York and Atlanta have been, once again, where they've been trying to fleece us or send us something half-assed. And Bobby and Masai be like, yeah, this is not what you're not getting the Bruce Brown for this. No, come back when you're serious. Because I have the feeling that a lot of people do try and approach the Raptors front office with some whack-ass offers. And that it's just continuing right now. And in some ways, hopefully, they'll find the right one, and Bruce will get shipped for some really good players or picks. So, yeah, in some ways, it's like, anyway, they're coming half-assed, I can tell, with the deals right now. Kareem's saying, at Brian, that lineup might be too small. Maybe Oshai or Mobo. Yeah, it's going to be Oshai. Davion's starting, but he's starting for Quickly. And he will be the starting point guard tonight. Davion Mitchell with Jamal Shed as the backup point guard. Ooh, we want to see some more of that. Who is he going to take to the shed? We're going to lock him up in the shed tonight. And somebody's getting an off night, too. Yeah, Jordan Poole, off night. Yeah, you get an off night. And then somebody's getting locked in the shed. We're going to lock somebody in the shed tonight. That's right. Yeah, it sounds really creepy when I say that, but it's fitting for shed. That's right. Fiercely saying good morning, fam, and happy Friday, aka game day. TGIF. Thank God it's Friday and there's a Raptors game on TV. That's what I'm saying right now, MJ. That's right. Holding it down for us in the Ottawa region of the nation's capital of Canada. Fiercely saw Sarah. Always good to see you in the chat. Smith saying compared to Indiana, he loves it. You really? You think so? I don't know. I think he was happy in Indiana too. I mean, in some ways, the Cowboy stuff really goes over really well in Indiana. It does kind of stick out in Toronto a little bit, but in Indiana, it fits right in his Cowboy motif. So I don't know. I don't think Bruce has been a hater of anywhere he's been in the NBA. I think that, him being for a couple different teams in his career, he was in Brooklyn a lot too. I think that he's just a smart guy with his career. And he's like, look, I'm just going to be the professional I am. And I'm just going to be where I'm going to be. In some ways, these guys make these contracts kind of like the Bruce Brown contract and the Jonas Valanciunas contract. They know that they may get moved. And in some ways, they're just kind of like, yeah, I'm just here where I'm going to be. And I take it moment by moment. So Andrew's here. Good morning. Game day. Let's go. There he is. He's got the dinosaur and he's got the wizard. Mr. Wizard's World. Did y'all ever watch Don Herbert's show, Mr. Wizard's World? It was on Nickelodeon when I was a kid. Mr. Wizard would be having kids over at his house. And he'd be like, yeah, we're going to take the baking soda, Jenny, and we're going to put it in the volcano and then pour the vinegar in. And look, oh, it's an explosion. Mr. Wizard. Yes, Jenny, this is science, and I'm teaching it to the children of the 80s right now. I'm Mr. Wizard. Mr. Wizard was cool, man. Playing the Wizards makes me talk about Don Herbert. Once again, if you know who Mr. Wizard is, Don Herbert or George Michael Sports Machine, you're old. That's just how it is. If you don't know and you want to know, youngsters, go Google this shit and watch it. Watch some Mr. Wizard's World. I'm sure that shit still hits real hard and awesome with science. Yeah, I would watch it right now. I watch some Mr. Wizards. Maybe I should get an old Mr. Wizard's World kind of a marathon going today. And since we're playing the Wizards today, I want to learn some science from Don Herbert in the early 80s. See, I know his real name. That's how cool I am. I know the real name of Mr. Wizard. That's right. He was so cool, man. Like when you're a kid. Seymour saying hi to Eye Candy. And Nako saying, I bet Bruce likes Tim's over Duncan. That's what he said. That's what he said this summer. He said in some ways he missed Canada this summer because he missed Tim Hortons coffee. Seriously. And Timbits. He was like pining for Tim Hortons. In some ways, that's not as like loyal to Canada anymore, since Tim Hortons is owned by Wendy's at this point and is an American company. It's sad. It's sad. It's pathetic. I hate how these institutions of Canadian cuisine, like Swiss Chalet and Tim Hortons, are now American owned, and they're kind of ruined. You know, they're cheap, and they're not the same as they were like 10, 15 years ago. It's sad in some ways to see brand names, great Canadian brands like Tim Hortons and Swiss Chalet go down the tubes. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. I think about the good times when we were like that. But Bruce Brown loves Tim Hortons still. He thinks it's amazing. And he was very much endorsing it this summer at one point. Seymour saying Grady going for a cool 25 tonight. I see him stepping up big. Yeah, I'd like to see a continuation from the work that Grady was doing in the first game against the Wizards. He was talking about this yesterday in the practice interview about how that one shot, that little curl he did at the free throw line. He said that Jonas didn't come out and treat him with respect, and that he left it open for him, and he just came around and curled, and the shot just like rattled in. Yeah, Grady, your shot is very interesting right now because it's getting a little bit of toilet bowl action on the rim, and in some ways you're very dialed in, and it's also the sign of a really good sharpshooter. The way you're getting action through the net and really not, yeah. I'm excited. I want to see Grady come out and add to what he did on Sunday with really good high efficiency with his offense. And you know what? The aggressiveness on defense that's new for him is going to be more and more welcome this season as he's stronger and bigger than he was last year. So, yeah, Grady, we're expecting a lot from you. And in some ways, come out there and be a 1-2 punch with Scotty this time instead of a 1-2 punch with RJ on Sunday. Yeah, I want to see these guys take over at the beginning of the game, just like they did on Sunday. Grady was a huge part of why the Raptors won on Sunday, and he can be that again today. 25 points for Grady, that'd be fantastic. That'd be fantastic, Seymour. I could see it happening. Fiercely saying, so annoyed the Liberty lost after leading most of the game, but defense prevailed. Lynx were locked in on the last 2 quarters. Even I must admit, it was a nice display and a good lesson for the Liberty. Yeah. I mean, fantastic action. The fact that it was a comeback victory is very exciting. And it sounds like everybody who watched the game last night were absolutely like, wow, I want to see the next game already because it was that. Fantastic for that league. I'm so happy for the WNBA. I really am. And just saying, anybody know if IQ is playing tonight? He is not. He is definitely ruled out. He was they said yesterday that IQ is definitely not playing tonight. And Darko really kind of said that he's trying to try and get him in for at least 1 preseason game. So don't hold your breath on him playing for Sunday either. We'll have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, no IQ tonight for sure. For sure. Brian's saying at Kareem could be anyone in SG by committee since the Raps are deep and interchangeable. Yeah, that's what Darko said, that the 5th starter with the barbecue yak is going to be in flux. you don't just expect Grady to start all year as the fifth starter for the Raptors. It could be different plug-ins for different reasons. Like Abaji could be a defensive plug-in to the starting lineup sometimes, or it could be that one of the other guys, like a rookie's playing really well. Then they're like, we're going to start, Mitchell, or we're going to start Shed, or even Mobo, or whoever, because we want to give them some chances in the starting lineup. So the fifth starter is not in concrete. It's penciled in, and it can be erased and changed and put in somebody else. So Grady's spot is not guaranteed in the starting lineup, everybody. But if he plays really, really well, obviously he can hold on to it and probably stay in there. He's got the best chance that starter spot regularly for himself out of anybody, if you ask me. But it's in some ways, Darko's making it sound like he doesn't want to just give him the spot, and that he wants to have flexibility in creating his starting lineup with the other four guys and having a different fifth person plugged in here and there. So just so y'all know, that's what it looks like to me. That's right. Most saying, so Lex, I wrote to Kayla Gray on her interview with DeMar, and apparently she reposted it. Awesome. Very, very cool. Yeah, that's a really good interview. Kayla's been very sassy in the preseason with the Raptors and different things going on. But with the DeMar interview, she was very serious. And I appreciate her professionalism with that. That's a very, very, very important interview that she did with DeMar DeRozan this week, because she asked him about getting his jersey retired. And DeMar got really sentimental. And you can tell it would mean a huge thing to him to see number 10 in the rafters at Scotiabank Arena when he hangs it up as an NBA player. And that's just what's just and right in this world. I'm telling you, he'll get it. Number 10 will be up there in our rafters. And it'll be so much more bona fide and authentic than this farce of a retirement ceremony we're doing this season. I'm going to say that right now. It'll be a totally different feeling. And the fact that DeMar will be here to see Vince's retirement jersey ceremony on the 2nd of November, well, you compare and contrast tomorrow, because yours is going to be so much more real and feeling and awesomeness than this one for Vince. Trust me. This one with Vince is hollow, and in some ways it's just as fake and bad as his exit from the Raptors. And in some ways, it's just not a true one. You were more real for the Raptors than anybody else in the history of the Raptors. And that's just the damn truth. And you will get the accolades from real ones like me because of that. The feelings, the good feelings, and the showering of ovation and love from real ones like me. Vince, he's not going to get that totally from everybody, especially from people like me. He's not going to get that. No, I won't. I'm not going to say like, yeah, Vince Carter, I'm so proud of him getting his jersey retired. I am not. I'm against this still to this day. That's right. That's right. All right, let's keep going in the chat. Let's see. Fiercely saying also as of 2025, finals will be 4 wins instead of 3. Yeah, best of 7, and that's good. In some ways, they're going to have to expand the other rounds also. It could be really kind of interesting, actually, if they have 3 rounds to the WNBA playoffs and they do best of 3, best of 5, best of 7, like it pyramids out. That's kind of an interesting format. There's less games in the first rounds, but you have to be really, really good to get past those first rounds. And then the middle rounds, best of 5, and then the finals, a best of 7. I kind of like that format just because it's progressive and like building more games each round. So we'll have to see. Let's see. Most telling Andrew no IQ. That's right. Seymour saying Utah's 3-0 in the preseason, Lex. Is that something or nothing? I don't know. I haven't paid attention to them. In some ways, I don't know. I don't care. It may be who they played. It may be special circumstances. It could be all kinds of different things. Once again, preseason is preseason, Seymour. And in some ways, we can't take a whole lot from preseason, especially it's like tune-up games, and getting our rookies oriented for what the NBA lifestyle is like is kind of what our preseason is. Is like, hey, rookies, this is your introduction to NBA lifestyle. We get on planes and we fly to Washington and we do a shoot around and we do this and we do that and we do this. And that's really what this preseason is about. It's not necessarily about winning. And different teams will have different goals in preseason, depending on what's going on with their squad. So in some ways, our goals are really to orientate and initiate these new young Raptors that just came to our team, and that getting them involved in the processes of what it means to be an NBA professional player. So Mike's saying the WNBA is in a weird spot. Not gonna lie, Caitlin Clark gets the ratings, but without her, the ratings are low. I don't know. I feel like their ratings. All right. Mike, within reason, of course. Caitlin Clark's getting astronomical ratings, but as a whole, the sport and the league is absolutely getting higher ratings. Like this finals game last night got really good high ratings, even if Caitlin Clark is not playing in it, Mike. So, I mean, you can point that out. That's fine. But across the board, attendance and viewership is up. And Caitlin Clark's effect, even if she's not present, is being felt. Is being felt. Carlos saying, laugh my ass off. They're doing the line dance. Yeah, they were doing the line dance yesterday at practice. They got done, and these guys were doing the boot step boogie, all in the country line dancing and stuff like that. That's what Bruce Brown effect, man. That's what Bruce Brown will do to your team, man. Mike's saying hamster dance. Isn't that how that goes? They used to play that in arenas. Wasn't there like a period of time in sports where the hamster dance was like just a necessary thing that happened in every arena for every kind of sport everywhere? And I was like, what an annoying song. It was like this really high pitch, like, it was so annoying. The hamster dance. I'm so glad it's gone. Like I haven't heard it at Scotiabank in a long, long time. Is that just gone? That fad is over, right? The hamster dance, being at sporting events, because that was just such an annoying song. It was so annoying. So annoying. Yeah, Seymour's laughing. Kareem saying Bronny James filled up the stat sheet yesterday with 6 minutes, 0 for 4. Everything else, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Smitch voice. Smitch voice. I don't even know how to say that. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. I don't even know how to do the Smitch voice on that. Yeah, I'm not surprised by this. This kid does not deserve to be in this league. It's only because of his dad. And it's going to be more and more of a farce the whole season goes on. Now, think about this. Think about the last couple of years and the way ESPN and the NBA has covered the Lakers and how they have not deserved so many national broadcast games because they're not having a good record. And how they've done that. Well, let's just imagine how they treated the team, and let's just embody them in one person. It's Bronny. And this is how it is. It's like he's going to get all these articles, all this microscope, all this talk on ESPN over exposure, and he doesn't deserve it. And it's exactly like the team he plays for in the last few years. It's the Lakers are the Lakers. They're an institution, but they're also a toxic pile of dump of really just poor management and just not a very good team. And the fact, like Charles Barkley said a couple years ago, why are we covering the Lakers so much? They are not one of the top teams in the league. And, well, why are we covering Bronny so much? Exactly. It's the same damn shit. Stargate saying, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Any further news on RJ? I know he is out for the rest of the preseason. Anything about it, if it will be longer? Well, I've talked about this a lot this week. I talked about it 2 days ago extensively because it's a separated shoulder. It's not a tear. It's just a separated shoulder. And in some ways that just needs to heal. We talked about it. Like if you do that on a basketball court in yourself, you just pop it back in, you keep playing. So this is being overly precautious is what I say. In some ways, they don't need RJ to play in the preseason because it risks further injury. Same thing with Emmanuel. Emmanuel's wrist is not that bad, guys. In some ways, they're holding these guys out for poo-pooing little injuries because the preseason is not necessary for IQ or RJ in some ways. This is a much more fruitful, important time for them to play Mobo, Shamshay, Shed, and other guys trying to make this team like Jamison Battle and Jared Roden. So in some ways, it's nice of these guys to step aside and say, yeah, my shoulder's not that great. I could pop it back in. I could probably play. And Emmanuel's wrist is probably not that bad either. But they're good excuses for them to take DMPs and allow for space for youngsters to get more time in the games that don't matter. So there's a lot to this. If you really look at it, Stargate, I'm not worried about RJ's shoulder. He probably could play tonight if the Raptors wanted him to, but they don't want him to. And that's why he's sitting tonight. That's why he's sitting tonight. I'm not worried about RJ's injury. He's going to be ready for opening night. Watch. And they can talk like it's worse than it is, but it isn't. It isn't. RJ's had a separated shoulder in his past, and I'm sure it was not a big deal. Not a big deal. Fiercely saying, cha-cha slide from DJ Casper is a catalyst at a party. If this doesn't make people get up and dance, your party is a fail. That's what it's called, DJ Casper's cha-cha slide. Yeah, that's what they were doing yesterday. In fact, man, you need to turn down the volume, or the interviewers got to do better about like when they're going to talk to them. Or maybe the Raptors are doing this on purpose at the OVO Center, cranking up like some sort of volume whenever they're trying to do interviews. because the noise around the interviews is very distracting. Whether it's people yelling or like throwing up shots, or the buzzer going off all the time, and they're like trying to talk to somebody after practice. It's annoying. It is annoying. Samson Folk. Samson Folk, man. This guy's funny, man. He's interviewing Darko yesterday, and he just gets in these really deep philosophical X's and O's questions. And he started talking about Scotty and pick and roll situations. And this is what I have a beef with you, Samson, on this one. I normally think you're amazing. I think that you're one of the most intelligent people that cover the Raptors, and you do it the right way. You're like the antithesis of Stephen A. Smith. You talk about X's and O's. You talk about the sport. But I do have a little bit of umbrage with you. And it's basically this, Samson. Don't compare Nick Nurse to Darko Rajakovic. Just don't do it. And in some ways, you talking about how Nick used Scotty compared to how Darko's using Scotty, it's not worth doing. And in some ways, it's insulting to Darko. In some ways, it's like, Scotty in some ways has developed as a player differently than when Scotty played for Nick to when he's playing for Darko now. And it's just not a fair comparison to Rajakovic. In some ways, it's not fair because Scotty wasn't ready to do certain things when he played for Nick. And then also, in some ways, it's not fair to Darko because the teams that Nick had compared to the team that Darko has now is completely different kind of makeup. So I love your very in-depth X's and O's, extremely cerebral basketball theory questions, Samson. But I do I have a little bit of a problem with you coming at Darko with, I'm comparing you to Nick Nurse and what he did as a coach for the Raptors. Don't do that. Don't do that. In some ways, this is a totally different era and setting, and it's not worth comparing the eras like this. It isn't. It really isn't. It's insulting to our guy that's coaching now, is what I say right there. Yeah. In some ways, Darko was kind to you and answered the question. But in some ways, he didn't have to, because in some ways, that question, as much as you went around and said all this stuff and showed off your very impressive knowledge of the sport of basketball, you kind of just roundabout kind of like it was an unnecessary question, is what I'm saying, basically. Yeah. So, all right, let's keep going. Andrew saying, I can't believe Scotty plays basketball today. So hype. I know. Pinch yourself, Andrew. The great Big Four, Scotty Barnes. Yeah, our guy, Scottier Diamonds. Scottier Barney. Yes, our dude, our broski. Yeah, he will be taken to the court once again, finally, reunited, and it feels so good. Scotty Barnes with a basketball in his hand on an NBA court playing with Tony Brothers refereeing. Yeah. Kaz is saying Bronny James is the GOAT. I don't know. The GOAT? What do you mean? Like he's out in my yard eating some thistle? What kind of GOAT? Are we talking about literal animal? Or are we talking about the acronym? Because I don't think it's the acronym. No, the Bronny. You're talking about LeBron James, right? What's Bronny? Bronny's his son. That's right. Carlos saying angry coach covered Bronny. Angry coach? Oh, angry hoops head. Ooh, I'll bet that was good. I'll bet that was good. In some ways, I might want to go watch that just for fun, because I'm sure he's just angry and like talking so much trash. And like this kid, he doesn't deserve to be in this league. He's probably going off. In some ways, that channel may be very entertaining this year with the Braun and Bronny show. LeBron James' #1 hater, angry hoops fan, is hilarious with the way he goes after LeBron. And he did very, very good work in the breaking down of the Raptors getting screwed over by the refs, Ben Taylor, when we went to LA last season. He broke it all down really, really, really good, showing exactly how the referees manipulated the game and called everything in favor of the Lakers and hurt us from trying to win and held us down and wouldn't let us beat the Lakers when we visited Crypto last year and played them. Yeah, it's a very informative channel, and he's very good at breaking down plays and showing you exactly where screwed up shit is happening. So in some ways, I stopped following him because he is very angry. And in some ways, that energy is kind of sad. But also at the same time, he is an excellent analyst, and he really does know basketball, angry hoops head. So some ways I might want to watch him break down Bronny James in the clips. It may be kind of pathetic, actually. Pretty sad. Mike's saying Bron fans are so delusional. One of them made a video saying how Bronny is like young Kobe, laughing my fucking ass off. Yeah. Lakers fans are crazy. They're very crazy. And in some ways, their purple Kool-Aid is like full of acid or something. Our purple Kool-Aid is some sweetener, but they've got some weird psychedelics because they are crazy out there. Some of the stuff they thinking out there in LA about their team. Your season's going to be so weird, LA. You got a weird podcaster coach, and it's just a father and son sideshow. Seriously, it's like father and son show. It's the father and son show, and that's all that matters in LA this year. It's not about winning games. It's not about anything other than Braun and Bronny and that accolade that LeBron got, getting to play next to his son. Okay, you've done it now, and then the rest of the year is just gonna be like bullshit. Seriously, watch. I'm serious. It's gonna be like that. Cool Cat's saying the WNBA ratings for playoffs are awesome. The ratings are higher than the NBA playoffs. Game 1 was crazy fire last night. I was hyped all night. See, I don't know if she's being truthful, but Cool Cat's a very honest person, and that could be very well be true. I mean, the playoff for the finals for the NBA was not that attractive. You know, nobody really wanted to watch the Mavs play the Celtics. It was kind of like a bullshit finals, and in some ways, it was very one-sided and not very entertaining. And I could totally see this being true. You know, people hate the Celtics so much, they probably were like, yeah, I'm not watching the finals this year because fuck the Celtics. And yeah, that probably happened. Seriously, that probably did happen. What she's saying, that there were better ratings for the game 1 of the WNBA finals last night than the NBA finals this year. Because in some ways, the NBA finals this year did not perform well. Seriously, nobody watched that shit. Nobody wanted to watch because first of all, the Mavericks were not the right Western Conference team to get the finals. They were a joke, and they were undermatched to go against the Celtics, and everybody knew what was going to happen. So if you know what's going to happen, why would you watch it? And that's part of the problem right there, NBA. You try to railroad the Celtics towards a championship. Well, you railroaded them so good that it was like not very captivating, not very captivating at all. We want to see two teams that are evenly matched get in the finals and battle it out like something like what happened with the WNBA last night. So yeah, you be careful with railroading your juggernauts to championships like you did with the Celtics last year, just rolling a red carpet out for them. The wrong team got to the finals from the West, and you didn't get a good NBA finals. You really didn't. It was one of the easiest NBA finals for the Celtics to win ever in the history. So honestly, I don't think the Mavs are that good, and even adding Clay doesn't mean they're going to get back. I think they'll be worse this year, and another team from the West will be in the finals this year. Because, yeah, I think that was a fluke that the Mavericks made the finals last year. I really do. Stargate saying Bronny really showing his pedigree. Amazing stats last night. Yeah, we're real impressed, Bronny, with your O's. Your O's. Nice round figures. We're going right across the stats there. Fiercey saying, I like that Lex says chase after Jordan Poole because really all he does is cardio and attempts bad shots. The regression from Golden State to the Wizards is crazy. I really don't get it. I do. He doesn't have the fantastic shooters, the Splash Brothers next to him, so he can hide. He's the primary best shooter on the Wizards, so he gets all the attention, and he sucks. In some ways, that team is not a team. In some ways, there's no leaders on that team that's trying to lead that team. Jonas don't care. He's not going to come in there and be the grizzled old center vet and tell them how to play. He don't care. He's just going to show up and get his money and be in the NBA. And Kuzma and Jordan Poole, they're just not serious people. So Wizards are going to be what the Wizards are. And until they have some sort of veteran come in, Malcolm Brogdon don't want to be there and doing it. He's obviously sitting on the side. And so who's their veteran leader on that team? And don't tell me Jonas, because Jonas don't want that job. He's going to be traded soon, and he's not trying to do that for them. Seriously. Let's see. Cool Cat's saying, I'm watching preseason casually. All of the players are being used to see if they worked out what they worked on are being used to see if what they worked on during the summer is good enough. Assessment phase. Yeah. And this is what's interesting. And that's why I'm going to do the Instagram stories real quick right now. First, we got Jamal Shed. He's got Barron from Texas, stamped number 7 Longhorns. So he's a fan of the Texas Longhorns college football team. And there's a crew of his friends hanging out. I'm not sure who those guys are. Shed's got a lot of friends. There he's putting DJ Carton on blast with the number 3 in the Raptors purple front black back. And there's J-Mo getting put on blast too. Also, Jonathan Mobo. Wubbs putting DJ Carton on blast. Also on his, Jacoby Walter, same picture. And also putting J-Mo on blast on his. So there's the unity there. Davion Mitchell has got some guy who's graduating talking on his Instagram stories today. Gary Trent Jr. doing a sideline dribble drill with a Milwaukee Buck coach where he's dribbling and getting the ball back and forth to him. Siakam is showing appreciation to Danny Green on his retirement. There's a cool picture of Siakam and Danny at the championship parade for the Raptors here in Toronto, and Siakam's got his arm around his shoulders. So he's acknowledging Danny on his retirement. Siakam, Norman Powell doing interviews in San Diego, talking about that it's a dream to play in San Diego. He always dreamt of this, and wow, dreams do come true. Getting to play in the NBA on a NBA court in San Diego has been a big deal. And he does think that they should get a team in San Diego, that they support him really well. Carlson showing a picture of him and DJ Carton from Media Day. Those guys are buds. And there's also a picture of JMO also on his account. JMO is posting, remember all it takes is one good year, one good summer, or one good month. 100%. Yeah, you know what? In some way, you're epitome of that, Jonathan Mobo, because you had one good year in San Francisco and a couple of good workouts. And you fucked around, found out you're in the NBA. In some ways, you have a very unlikely path to being a Toronto Raptor right now, even though you are best friends with Scotty. Because in some ways, that's exactly what he's saying right there. He had some good times happen and good things happen to him. Eric Smith, all kinds of cool stuff he's posting. He's posting Danny Green's retirement announcement and saying, great player, better man, calling him that. Eric Smith of the Fan 590 and our broadcast crew. Also, another great picture of Danny with the Larry O'Brien when we won it here in Toronto. And then also, he's got Crockett and Tubbs on Miami Vice cruising around listening to Phil Collins. And he's saying, you might be cool, but you'll never be Crockett and Tubbs riding into danger to in the air tonight. Cool. You know, I don't know Eric Smith. I grew up in Florida, and I used to cruise around at night like Crockett and Tubbs and listen to In the Air at Night. And I felt like that at times. And I felt like I was as cool as them at that time. Maybe I had socks on, unlike Don Johnson. But I felt that coolness before of being like Crockett and Tubbs on Miami Vice, cruising around in the convertible Corvette. And yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I felt it. I felt that before. Maybe I wasn't as cool to everybody looking in from the outside, but I felt that cool. I did. Omari Moore, happy birthday to his friend. I'm not sure who that is. He's just saying happy birthday. And there's a friend of his from Texas A&M, Corpus Christi, been put on blast. Teresa Resch, WNBA president of Toronto's team, showing the color scheme that we were talking about yesterday on the Thursday Think Tank. I hope, Teresa, that you watched our stream and that you were able to glean some useful information from the Raptor Freak family on our Thursday Think Tank, talking about the colors for our franchise that you're starting to build. And I hope you got some good information. Kyle Lowry has got some action shots of him playing for the Sixers in the preseason. He's getting all kinds of crazy shots up. That's a nice shot there with the fakes. And they're playing a pink team. I'm not even sure what team was wearing pink jerseys. But yeah, Lowry is a Sixer. Begrudgingly, I have to say that. But yeah, we'll see how Lowry's year is. Now, this is more Bruno Fernando, and I don't get this. He's saying, all right, yesterday he was saying 1 million feelings, 0 words. Today, this is what Bruno Fernando is saying on his Instagram. Just make sure you rise above all this madness out here. Mind elevation, man. So it might be getting tough for him. He may be seeing the writing on the wall. He's not guaranteed. And it may be that he's seeing that the excellence of Jamison Battle, Jared Rhoden, and Jamias Ramsey is a threat to him being on the Raptors right now. So Bruno, man, in some ways tonight, if you could make a name for yourself in some way on the court by kicking some major butt in particular ways, that would be very, very good for you, Bruno, and your chances of making the final roster for the Raptors for this season. Because I know you're in a bit of a situation that's a little tough. And in some ways, there's nothing guaranteed for you literally on your contract yet. But you're very close. Very, very close. And it seems like he's maybe a little worried. Jamal McGlure saying congratulations to Danny Green on his retirement on his Instagram. And he's also echoing mental health is health from the Raptors official, talking about if you need help, call Cam H. And DeMar DeRozan came out and supported that also. So very, very good stuff. Also, the NBA is working together to support communities and organizations, providing necessary relief and recovery and rebuilding for those affected by Hurricanes Helene and Milton. So the NBA is out there doing stuff like that. That's fantastic. Shamshay showing a clip of a young African guy working out. I'm not sure who he is. but it's probably somebody who's a friend of his. Slim Duck has got some sort of crazy like weigh-in, and these guys are talking trash, or it's a rap battle. That's what it is. It's a rap battle. These guys are going off. This guy just dropped the Rock's name or something. I don't know. He's going off. This dude is going off right now. I don't even know exactly what's going on there, but yeah, he's watching rap battles, I guess, is what Chris Boucher was into lately. Matt Devlin honoring Danny Green on his retirement, also on his, and showing some of the great highlights that Danny had, like the big block against the Golden State Warriors in the finals. That was a fantastic play, that defensive play right there. All kinds of good Danny Green highlights in his 1 year as a Raptor. Fantastic stuff. And there's the Raptors officially acknowledging Danny Green on his retirement also on theirs. Game day. Let's go. Let's go. Raptors and Wizards tonight. There you go. There's your Instagram stories. Yeah. Bruno Fernando is still a little weird on his Instagram stories with what he's posting. And it does sound like he's in a little bit of a limbo in the middle of things with us. Yeah. Yeah. Trevor saying Cleveland lost to Chicago and Indiana in the preseason so far. Yeah, losing to Indiana is understandable, but Chicago, Cleveland, you ain't got no business losing to the Bulls. I'm gonna say that right now. Kareem saying Evelyn is my tita. She's amazing, and every time I put on my Raptors Freak T-shirt, I think of our encounter at Real Jerk. Yeah, she's awesome, and I'm so happy a lot of you guys have Raptor Freak shirts. Like it's such a cool thing in some ways to have a tangible shirt, and it's totally Granny Swag's fault that happened. And I love her for it. You're so amazing, Evelyn. At some point, when we do have another Raptor Freak get together, we're going to have to maybe get some more shirts, Evelyn, so that we can give them to more people as they come to the events. So I'll have to talk to you about that at some point. But we have nothing set up that's coming up. So there's no reason to do it now for sure. Mo's saying, so tomorrow is the damn Hall of Fame induction. Be serious. What do we expect from the bum? Rolls her eyes. Listen, I don't know. In some ways, we're going to, once again, he gets all these opportunities to get a microphone in front of him. Vince could do something real simple, and it could help things a lot with fans like Monique and I. I mean, seriously, that's all it takes, Vince. Just get outside your ego and look at things a little bit better. I mean, I keep using DeMar DeRozan as a mirror image of Vince's egotism, is that such a introspective, self-reflective, real person that DeMar DeRozan is, that he gets it. He understands this kind of stuff. But Vince is just so wrapped up in himself that he cannot get outside of his own ego and his own way that he looks at himself and actually look at it from a way that kind of clearly sees the whole situation. And that's part of the problem. I expect Vince to take the mic at the Hall of Fame ceremony and just talk about himself the whole time and just talk about how great he was. And in some ways, I don't expect him to give any thanks to fans in Toronto specifically, but he'll probably thank the fans of the NBA in general and stuff like that. So it is what it is. And in some ways, I've given up on waiting for an apology from Vince a long time ago, not even anytime recently. And in some ways, why, even though we're trying to smooth things over and honor him in Toronto right now, why would he's going to get away with not having to apologize? He's going to get away with it. He's going to get to do everything and get all the accolades and never actually come clean and admit his part in the really ugly part of his departure in Toronto. In some ways, look, you don't have to apologize for getting traded to the Nets. No, I don't want you to apologize for that. You don't have to apologize for killing us after coming back and putting us out of the playoffs and absolutely relishing destroying the Toronto Raptors every single time you played us after you left our team. I want you to apologize for quitting on our team. I want you to apologize for not giving a full effort to the fans, the kids that paid the money to go to the games that you played in that you half-assed. That's who you need to apologize to, Vince. And in some ways, if you are not willing to admit that you half-assed your last 30 games with the Raptors under Sam Mitchell, well, then you're never going to do it. And I have no respect for you because in some ways you need to apologize for breaking the cardinal sin as a professional athlete of not putting your best effort out on the court and absolutely letting it be known publicly. In some ways, people can lie and say, yeah, I was hurt and I wasn't that well, and that's why I didn't play as well. But you told the truth and said, I didn't jump on purpose. I didn't play on purpose a certain way. And it's very evidently proof in the stat lines from that year in 2004. So, Vince, until you come clean in some sort of way and say, I apologize to the Toronto fans for playing half-assed in the last year I played for the Toronto Raptors. That would be enough for me, because in some ways that's the only thing I'm mad at you for, is quitting on the team, giving our plays to the Sonics, and just being a half-ass jerk, half man, half-ass jerk in the last little part of your career with us. And that's all I want from him. But he won't do it. Watch. His ego's too big and he can't see outside of himself. And that's the sad thing about it. In some ways, it's a sad thing about him. You got to feel sorry for Vince, that he's just not emotionally intelligent enough or self-aware enough to understand that he has a character flaw that's so huge in this way. That's right. Andrew's saying, I hope Shamshay gets in the game earlier tomorrow. You mean today? They're playing today, Andrew. You better be ready tonight, Andrew. We got Raptors to watch tonight, my guy. Yeah, if he gets in the game earlier tomorrow, well, we're not there. That's no good. I hope so, too. I'd like to see Shamshay get in the game before the fourth quarter tonight. There's no guarantees. In some ways, he's the end of the bench. And when he comes out, it's because of a route, probably. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he does play earlier. We'll have to see. In some ways, maybe they save him because they know he may get in foul trouble, because it's very likely. Let's see. Stargate saying, in my opinion, Indiana is probably the best team in the East, at the very least, second behind the Celtics. Yeah, I think that's probably right. Let me just do something real quick. Hang on. Sorry about that. My heater was on and it was like really, really getting hot in here. So I just cut it off. I'd like to think this. I don't know if it's true. I'd love for the Pacers to be the best team in the East, but I don't know if it's going to be true. These teams in the Atlantic, it's probably one of them, unfortunately. But if I could pick which one of the East teams should be at the top of the Eastern Conference, I would love for it to be Siakam's Pacers. Oh, yeah, I would. Oh, yeah, I would. Yeah, tonight. There you go, Andrew. You got it right now. Let's see. Indiana has 0 defense. Yikes. Andrew's saying it's been 224 days since Scotty last played basketball. Wow, you went and found out that number? That's way too long. That's almost a year. 224 days? That's way too long. Way too long. There's Scotty's face. I love to see it. Cowboy's here. Good morning, Lex and Rat Freaks. Dap to you, Cowboy. Scotty is a mashup, going to mash up Kuzma tonight. Raptors win by 15. I'm hoping Mobo starts with Papa Scotty tonight. Let's go Raptors 2-0. That could be very well what happens, that Mobo gets to start tonight also. You know, Darko kind of described Jonathan and what he's good for, and he said he's like a very good defensive player and that he's got different attributes that are very nice. And so, you know, he's pretty high on Mobo. But I don't know if he'll start again. In some ways, he started the first one, and it may be somebody else is getting their chance. It could be also that Mobo is kind of looked at as like a backup big. And with Scotty and Jakob in the two big spots, that Mobo's not really a small forward. You know, he did say he's played him at 4 and 5 mostly, but he has played him a bit at 3. We'll have to see, Bradley, who the fifth starter is. I'm guessing it's Abaji, though. I'm going to guess that it's Abaji tonight. For some reason, I feel like it's going to be Abaji. Now, win by 15, that'd be great. The refs are not on our side tonight, just so you know. Kaz is saying, where's Tommy Dookie? Well, Tom has left the channel. He got in a fight with me, and we're not talking anymore. We're friends still. He's Facebook friends with me, but he's decided he's going to depart from the channel for a little while, and that's just how it is. It's happened before, Cass. This has happened in the last few years at different times where Tom and I get in disagreement, and he doesn't want to work with me on the channel or do anything for the channel anymore, and that's his choice. I have no problem with that because, honestly, I'm not paying him. So it's like, if he didn't want to help me do the things on the channel, that's his right. And, well, we got an argument, Cass, and he's gone. So hopefully time will heal things and he'll be back in the chat at some point. But, you know, last time it took about 6 months before he came back. So, I don't want you guys to ask this every day either, seriously, because I love Tom. I think Tom's a great guy, but sometimes we don't get along. And I can't do anything about that. That's just how life is. That's just how life is. Andrew's saying, excited to watch Shed play again. Yeah, let's see who's going to the woodshed. Who's going to the woodshed? We're going to lock him up in the woodshed. That's right. Cowboys saying 10-4. And Mike's saying, get Bruce to ride a horse onto the court. Laugh out loud. Yeah, we're probably not doing that. We're probably not doing that unless there's a police horse somewhere around. Let's see. Cowboys saying, Raptors are going to line dance on the Wizards tonight. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. They probably can't wear those boots out there on the court, though. Mike's saying the horse can poop on the Wizards logo. That's just not nice. That's just not nice, Mike. That's gross. That's a really weird, like, image. No, I'm not giving an alley-oop for that, Cowboy. I'm sorry. Shere Khan's here. Good to see you. Former Raptor Freak Rookie of the Year, Shere Khan. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Another great day for Raptors fans. Let's get the young Raptors out there and battle for roster spots. Wonder who is going to start for RJ. Oshai most likely candidate, but we got others as well. Yeah, I gave 3 options at the beginning of the stream. I say it's probably Abaji is number 1. Could be Boucher. I could see Darko helping Boucher out and saying, you can start at small forward today, Chris. Or it could be Jonathan. I think those are my 3 best choices as far as looking at things to start in the place of RJ Barrett. Yeah. Stargate saying Minnie can send McDaniels our way for Bruce. You want to get the other McDaniels, Jaden McDaniels. Jaden McDaniels is a starter for the Timberwolves, and he's somebody very valued there. I don't know. I mean, maybe they would do that deal. Probably not, though. I think that may be something they've tried to talk about. I don't know. Maybe we don't want another McDaniels back here in some ways. We just got rid of Jalen. I know Jaden's better, but yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting deal, Stargate. Maybe that's an upgrade. I mean, it's an upgrade on height and maybe on defensive stuff. So that may be good. Andrew saying, I hope we can get a first or a young prospect for Bruce. I think it's very likely we're going to get a first round pick for Bruce of some sort. Yeah, I think that what you just said is exactly kind of what we're looking at. Maybe we get a young prospect and a first round pick for him. I don't know what's possible. Hopefully Bobby Webster will make something really magical and amazing happen, just like the Jalen McDaniels trade. Seriously, that was a great trade for us this summer. Mike saying, laugh out loud, Shed's defense is like that scene in Bronx Tale where they are rolling craps, but a couple of the guys are bothering the boss, so he sends them to the washroom, and there's like 3 guys in there. He's alluding to mobster movies. Interesting. Fiercely saying, I watched the presser yesterday, and I sense Grady is the type who will study his opponents, grasp as much info as possible to help his game. He also seems to be a fast learner. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's probably true. That these guys kind of get to know their opponent coming up. It's very much probably the assistant coaches, people like Evo. They're coming to Grady and kind of telling him, like, with this matchup and this. So there's probably some work he does on his own. And then also the preparation from the assistant coaches coming in and bringing the laptop before the game and showing them a couple things also. So there's probably a lot of that, Fiercey. You're exactly right. Cowboy saying, you know it. Monique saying, more high praise from Fred on Jamal Shed from Josh Lindbergh's article piece. Well, this is interesting. Josh Lundberg put out something yesterday, and it had both these guys talking about each other. So the friendship and the mentorship is very real between Fred VanVleet and Jamal Shed. The quote, let me go find it. I want to read it exactly because I put it in the chat for us the other day, and I want to make sure that I read it exactly how Fred said it. Fred said this, I love Jamal Shed's game. I see some similarities because he's a dog. You see the spirit defensively, and being able to impact the game defensively at that size is not an easy task. He's probably much more athletic than me. You know what? I think this is right. You know, this is an interesting thing. Like, all right, Fred may have better shooting over Jamal Shed. That may be the one thing that Freddie has definitely an advantage over Jamal Shed in the player build versus each other. But this is true. Like if we saw in the first preseason game, Jamal Shed going out of bounds and able to acrobatically kind of hang in the air and throw the ball back in to Kelly. This is something that Fred, in some ways, Fred is not an athletic guy. He's done this on strength, perseverance, doggedness, and really being dialed in on his shots and playing a certain way. Now, in some ways, Shed has more athletic gifts than Freddie. And that's what he's trying to say here. Is that in some ways Jamal Shed can jump higher than Fred. In some ways, Jamal Shed may be a little bit faster than Fred. So it's an interesting kind of difference, Shed versus VanVleet, but they're recognizing each other. Jamal Shed very much is utilizing the Fred VanVleet mentorship, even though he's in the Rockets. And Fred VanVleet's all about helping Jamal Shed also. And that in some ways shows Fred's allegiance to our Raptors team, being a champion with us and still loving Toronto. In some ways, he could be a jerk. He can be like, no, you play for an op, and I'm not going to talk to you, Jamal Shed. No, he's saying, Jamal, if you want my advice, if you want to call me, if you want anything, call me. I'm there for you. And that's fantastic. So I think that's interesting that Fred looks at Jamal Shed as being a better athlete than him and him having more athletic ability. And that may be part of the different flavor of the dog mentality in the new bench mob leader, Jamal Shed, from our old bench mob leader, Fred VanVleet. Yeah. There you go. Stargate saying, Hang on, it jumped ahead right when I was about to read it. It always does that. It's so annoying, man. Let's see. Where is it? 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 Okay, here it is. Laugh out loud at young prospect. You sound like a hockey fan, bro. The Raptors have more than enough young development projects right now. Vets are what are needed. Who are you talking about? Are you talking about like what I said earlier? Listen, this is just the case of our team, Stargate. In some ways, I've used this example in the past where Vince came to the team as a rookie. He was like one of three young players, him and Tracy and one other guy. And then the whole rest of the team was all vets like Charles Oakley, Kevin Willis, Antonio Davis, D. Brown, all those guys, Del Curry. And this is the opposite right now. We've got like three old guys, and then everybody is very, very young. And I say young prospect because that's what our team is. It's a bunch of young prospects. We got Shamshay is a huge prospect. Was prospectively going to be very, very good down the road, you know? So, I mean, I don't know if it's a terminology. You're saying something like, I sound like a hockey fan. That's not apropos to hockey. A prospect is for any sport. You can have a football prospect. You can have a hockey prospect. You can have a baseball prospect. So it's not like hockey owns that term, a young prospect. No, I've used this term way before, and I don't associate that term with hockey language or anything like that. No, that's just a sports lingo. It has nothing to do with a specific sport. And let's see, the Raptors have more than enough young development projects right now. Vets are what are needed. Nope, not right now. No, Stargate, you're wrong because we're in a rebuild. And in some ways, the too much veteran doesn't make sense right now. You get the vets when you're close to striking and going for the championship. And we're in a rebuild, a retool, a reboot. And right now, having so many young players is exactly right for what we're trying to do because we've got to figure out which ones of these guys to invest in and develop more and more as time goes on and build with. And then when we're getting closer, then you add some of these vets that you're talking about when you're closer to striking, like a Marc Gasol trade during our championship year. So it's all about where you are with your franchise and what state. And you're not seeing things right, Stargate, as far as what you're saying there. Yeah, vets are not what's needed for this team right now. These young guys need the time to grow and make mistakes. Andrew's saying confident Grady looks like a whole different player. You know what? He looked really impressive in the first game against Washington, and I hope he looks just as impressive tonight. In some ways, last year we'd see him have like a game that's really good, and then he'd have kind of a poo-poo game. So in some ways, we want to see a consistency night in, night out from Grady Dick, especially since Gary Trent Jr. could not do that last year. And then that's the shooter's crux is like, can you consistently show up and make your shots consistently every night that we can depend on you? And that's what Grady needs to prove, unlike what Gary did last year, is what I'll say right there. Yeah, Carlos saying, imagine Shed being the rookie of the year. It's not very likely, not at all very likely. That Reed Shepherd looked really good for the Rockets so far. And we'll see. Zach Edey's the favorite, is what I'm hearing. Yeah, Andrew's got a hamster and a dancer, the hamster dance. Interesting. Yeah. Santino. Okay. Yeah. Cowboys just always just saying random shit in here. And then Carlos saying Cowboy. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Carlos saying angry coach, Bronny episode showing his low basketball IQ. So funny. I recommend it. I'll bet it is really funny. And I probably will watch it today because you guys brought it up. I didn't know that he did something on Bronny already. And it'll be fun. It'll be fun to watch, I'm sure. Mike's saying, yes, the WNBA ratings are higher than they were last year. I'm just saying they are in a weird spot with one player drawing so much interest. Well, I mean, this isn't anything different than like the 90s with Jordan. Jordan was like the creme de la creme, big ticket, and everything Jordan was like big time. And well, the games that didn't have Jordan, well, they still happened, and they still things went on without Jordan around. Sure, Caitlin Clark is having a Michael Jordan kind of effect on the league right now in some ways. But it is what it is, Mike. We can't railroad everything in the WNBA and just put Caitlin Clark at the front of everything just because we want to sell tickets and have viewership. No, keep the league on the up and up. Caitlin Clark will get to WNBA finals at some point, and it's all within good time. Like, I don't understand what the issue is. Caitlin Clark's not in the finals, so what? WNBA ratings are up still. Kareem saying, because we are up against the Wizards, I really want to see Ulrich, Carlson, Carton, Ramsey, Mobo battle get like 20 plus minutes. I need them to get their feet wet and then go dominate the G League. Yeah, I'm all about this also. In some ways, it is all about the youth movement. It is all about the youth movement. In some ways, we don't need Kelly Olynyk to be out there for 25 minutes showing us what he can do. We know what Kelly Olynyk can do. So we need to play these youngsters and get better looks at them and let the guys who are trying to fight to make the final roster continue to fight for their right. Battle and Roden and Ramsey and Fernando. Fernando's going to need to have a big game tonight. I'm going to say that right now. Carlos saying, I will start Mobo as a future Pascal propaganda. Okay. It could very well be Jonathan again because he did get to start the first one. But who knows? Once again, it may be that Mobo didn't do things correctly on defensive assignments in the first game, and he lost the chance to start again. I don't know how Darko's criteria is. I think that it's very likely Oshai is going to be starting today, guys. I'm going to say that, yeah. Andrew saying, I'm mostly upset about Jacoby. I really want to see him play again. Yeah, well, it's unfortunate that Jacoby's hurt to start his rookie career, his career in the NBA. It's really unfortunate. In some ways, Jacoby, pop your shoulder back in and get out there. But he probably won't play until the regular season, is what I'm hearing right now. G saying Paige and Juju will bring another wave of fans to the WNBA too. We need Bruce Brown. We need a Bruce Brown and Tada collaboration. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know. That's kind of weird. Yeah, Paige and Juju are going to bring a lot of attention. And in some ways, we'd love to get one of those two on our team in Toronto. That would be absolutely fantastic. It'd be really smart, WNBA, Kathy Engelbert. If you put a very high-profile Canadian talent like Paige on our team, that could be very, very good for ticket sales and getting interest in our team in Canada right away. People do really like having Kelly and RJ and Chris Boucher on the Raptors. So it could be very, very smart. If y'all are trying to write storylines like Bron and Bronny in the NBA, in the WNBA, try and railroad a very high-level Canadian player to the WNBA team in Toronto. It may be very smart business. Just trust me on this. Very, very smart. Yeah, I don't know if we need that collaboration. Let's see. Mike saying people are suggesting they need to start rigging the game so Clark goes deep in the playoffs. I don't know. It seems slimy, but money will push things that aren't fair in a sense. Well, I hate that. And people that are saying that are not true sports fans. They're degenerates. And yeah, anybody who's just openly saying that. I mean, I just talked about it just now. What are they going to do? Rig it so that she's in the finals every year? No, they're not going to do that. In some ways, they need, honestly, they'd be much better off making this league seem as much on the up and up as possible in all kinds of ways, because in some ways, people are jaded about the NBA being rigged in certain ways. And the WNBA staying away from that kind of energy in any kind of way going forward is smart, because in some ways, you may actually steal some very diehard NBA fans like me, WNBA, in the years to come, because I'm so jaded with the NBA and their bullshit and their media machine, and they're all about just marketing and money. And they're not actually about real competition and a game that plays, because we can see right through how the storylines are written. Things like Bron and Bronny. So WNBA, be that alternative. Do never, ever be like the NBA in this way, where you're trying to railroad Caitlin Clark to good things just because of ratings. Don't do that. Because in some ways, you may naturally get a lot of basketball purists like myself to be huge fans of your league. I might be more of a WNBA fan than an NBA fan in the next 10 years, guys. I in some ways can predict this, because in some ways the WNBA is heading in the right direction in a lot more ways than the NBA is right now. So don't screw around with that, WNBA. Let yourself be an absolute paragon of fair competition and no wacky bullshit like what Mike is describing here, because it will turn people off like me. And in some ways, that's what's turning me off from the NBA right now. That's what I'll say there. Cha-cha now, y'all. Cha-cha now, y'all. Cha-cha now, y'all. I don't even know what that is, man. Kaz saying, I was being sarcastic about Bronny, Lex. Okay. All right, cool. In some ways, I don't read sarcasm. If you write something in the stream, I'm just going to read it for what it is. Whether somebody's coming in here trying to be a funny joke, I'll play it straight. I always have on this channel. So sarcasm doesn't work here, just so you know. It just doesn't. It honestly doesn't work in my real life either. I mean, I do have a form of autism, which makes me not get sarcasm. And most of the time when somebody says something to me, I'm just going to take it at face value, because I can't actually read if they're being sarcastic or not. So I don't get along with sarcastic people, because when they say something, I just believe what they said is true, even if they're being sarcastic. I mean, wow, that person's miserable, or that person's not really that cool, because there's like, why did they say that? Oh, they're being sarcastic. I can't read it. I can't read it in real life. I definitely can't read it through a comment, just so you know. Let's see. Mike's saying the Caitlin Clark games drew similar numbers to the NBA. I'm not sure about the finals numbers. Well, Cool Cat's saying that the WNBA finals did better than the NBA finals. I believe her because I know during the NBA finals, a lot of people did not watch them this year because a lot of people felt them not climactic or interesting. And in some ways, it was just kind of like, yeah, this is stupid. We all know what's going to happen. The Celtics are going to win the championship. And in some ways, people wanted to see competition and a battle between two very evenly matched teams. And it wasn't that way. It wasn't that way. The Mavs were a joke to get to the finals, and they had no business getting the finals last year. And in some ways, they did a disservice to the league being a shitty team in the finals. Yeah, I'm dissing the Mavs left and right because they were not good enough to be in the finals last year. And the way that they got the finals was kind of a joke. The Western Conference should have had a better team in the finals. They had way better teams out west that would have been a way better matchup than Boston. And that's a big part of it, Mike. In particular, people say our finals against Golden State wasn't watched. That's bullshit. That was one of the most exciting finals in recent history. And in some ways, people really got into it. And it was different because everybody expected the Warriors to win, and we won. There was some script flip in there. But with the Celtics beating the Mavs this year, everybody saw it before it started, and they were like, why bother watching? So the ratings did have really bad ratings. So her saying that WNBA finals got better ratings last night than the NBA finals is very plausible to me. Very, very, very plausible. Yeah, Mike's saying, or a Cowboy's saying, alley-oop to Uncle St. David and Tom Dukes. Later, Lex Rat Freaks. All right, Cowboy, later. All right, man. Smooth saying, Bronny is taking away an opportunity for another player that deserves that shot. He isn't an NBA player right now. Unfortunate, but true. Yeah, I completely agree with this. The nepotism of Bronny is a farce. And in some ways, all the people that didn't make the league that could have made it, there's all kinds of different people that probably deserve that spot way more than him. Way more than him. There's guys that were on USC that played with Bronny last year that deserve that spot more than Bronny James. He's not even the player on the USC Trojans last year that deserve to be in the league. It's just because of who his dad is. And Smooth's exactly right. Trevor's saying Lakers is the news Sesame Street in 2024. One of these things is not like the other. I like that joke right there. So Trevor, you're going to get a dunk for that one because I think that's hilarious right there. That's funny. You're saying one of these things is not like the other. That I had the song in my head now, Trevor, because you did that. That's such a throwback to my brain right now. 133 for Trevor J, the commissioner of fun. Good stuff. All right, let's see. Andrew's saying, to be fair, not many 55th overall picks are NBA ready. Yeah, I'd say that. Even our guy Shamshay, who came into the draft after Bronny. Didn't Shamshay get drafted after Bronny, guys? So in some ways, that's kind of a cool litmus test. Lakers, you're so blind with nepotism and putting Braun with Bronny for marketing that you may have lost out on a generational talent called Prince Shamshay. And that'd be your own fault. In some ways, people in Laker Nation may be looking at this later in the future and be like, man, we could have gotten Aldridge Shamshay, but we were messing around with Bronny James for just the ego of LeBron. This is so stupid. We should have had Shamshay. Rob Pelinka, you should be fired. I mean, what I just said, in some ways, that could be something that happens down the road, and people would be like, yeah, why did we waste a pick on Bronny? We could have got this guy instead. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips. Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. On this game day, live one day at a time. Do not worry about tomorrow. Sufficient are the troubles of today. Wow, there you go. Yeah, stay in the now and don't get too worried about the future. Just take it as it comes and deal with it as you can. There are things you got to deal with today. Troubles for today. Well, take care of them, master them, and get past them. And Randolph, what a great word of wisdom. I'm going to go look at Leo real quick. I'm telling you, Leo's life tips from yesterday. I'm doing them a day after. That's just how I'm doing them, Leo. You can put them out late. I'm still going to do them. Let anyone who comes to you go away feeling better and happier. I like that. I'm trying to get into more of that philosophy on here. I feel like the ugliness earlier this week with Tom has made me want to rededicate to, I want to put good vibes out and have more positivity and not get into dumb little arguments about dumb things like what Tom and I got in a fight on earlier this week. So in some ways, I'm taking this to heart, Leo, and I want to make people happier when they leave this chat and this stream every day. And we have a good track record of doing that overall over the 3 years I've been doing the show. So in some ways, I got to rededicate and do this once again and say, look, we're good vibes here, and we're trying to put the good vibes out there and put them forward. That's right. I'm all about that. I'm all about that for real. That's right. Smooth saying most 55 overall picks are in the G League or Europe or C leagues. Yeah, B or C leagues. Yeah, yeah. And he's going to get a guaranteed contract with money, and he's going to get paid at least for 2 years by the Lakers until, I don't know, LeBron leaves. And are they really continuing to pay him and just have him around as dead wood on the team? Maybe that they promised LeBron they'll do this, and they'll be like, yeah, we're going to do this for you. Although the Lakers did take Jerry West's season tickets away eventually. So maybe the promises they give to people won't be fulfilled. Genie Bus. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. If they made a deal with LeBron and he's saying, yeah, you have to let my son play in this league for at least 10 years on the Lakers, no matter what. Well, you go ahead and do that, Lakers, and be a joke for it. Seriously. Andrew saying, yeah, Bronny will probably spend a lot of time in the G League this year, as he should. He should be on the G League. He should. And Jaylen Brown doesn't necessarily think he's good enough to be in the G League. Seriously. Smith saying that's where Bronny should be, but I don't know if LeBron will go for that. Yeah, he should be down there. Well, we'll see. Once again, it's very much out of the veil. We can see it very plain in sight in front of us. The haves and have-nots. And if Bronny gets some sort of extra more special treatment, like he never has to go to the G League because he's LeBron's son, well, that just shows the kind of bullshit that's going on with this whole thing. Yeah. Mike's saying, Andrew, JJ is talking about Bronny playing in the playoffs. Laugh out loud. Yeah, they're delusional. They're absolutely delusional. I think they're delusional about JJ Redick himself too, not just Bronny. The whole Lakers nation's crazy, and this season is going to be what they deserve. They're going to get what they deserve. Trust me, they're going to get what they deserve. Andrew's saying if they even make the playoffs, yeah, they're not going to make the playoffs. They're not going to make the playoffs this year. Smooth saying the Lakers are all about symbolism. They're not serious, man. Exactly. In some ways, they've angered their legends. You know, the story that's on ESPN about Jerry West and his history with the Lakers and how they never kind of fix things. You know, that would make Dr. Jerry Buss so disappointed and unhappy with his daughter that they got the point like this with Jerry West, where he died this year and he really is like hates the Lakers. It's crazy because Jerry West was like Mr. Laker for so long. And you guys, if you don't know the story about Jerry West and the Lakers, is that he was on the Lakers when the Celtics were winning all the championships in the 60s. And Jerry West went to the finals against the Celtics and lost almost every single year against Bill Russell and the Celtics in that decade. And then finally, Jerry West and Elgin Baylor punched through and got one single Laker championship through the whole barrage of Celtics championships at that time. And he finally got one, and that was great. But he only got one. And in some ways, you know, Jerry Buss used to say that the Lakers legend, the most important Lakers legend is Jerry West. Forget about Magic and the Showtime guys. Forget about Shaq and Kobe era people. That Jerry West is the template, the most important Laker from the beginning. Well, Jeannie Buss shot all over that in the years after. They said that the departure from Jerry West from the Lakers was right around when she took over after Dr. Jerry stepped away and retired and then eventually passed away. And then the Jeannie Buss and Phil Jackson romance was a big thing that bugged Jerry West a lot. In some ways, they forced Jerry out of there, and he was exiled. He went and worked for the Grizzlies. Then he eventually came and worked for Steve Ballmer on the Clippers. But yeah, never got healed. And it's a very interesting article, the article that's on ESPN about Jerry West and the Lakers. Very, very interesting. And Dr. Jerry Buss is not. I'm sure if he could see everything that's going on right now, he'd be so pissed off and upset with things that are going on with the Lakers, whether it's this Bronny show, whether it's JJ Redick, whether it's his daughter exiling Jerry West from being in the Lakers circle, Hall of Fame and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's messed up. It's messed up. Andrew's saying role players always get worse when they go to LA. It's kind of funny. Yeah, good job, Coloco. If you even get to play, man, you're in the worst place for your development. Yeah, you're so up a creek with no paddle, whether it's because of your health and the right to play panel, or the fact that if you are on the Lakers, they're going to drop the ball with you, and you're just going to be like a sacrifice to the altar of LeBron. And that's all this is. Yeah. Kareem saying Bronny is not a starter or rotational player on any roster in the NBA. That includes Washington. I would be surprised if he was a starter in the G League. Yeah, I honestly, they may put him in the G League this year, and he gets exposed down there too, where he doesn't even look like he belongs in the G League. Like I could see that happening seriously, where Bronny James does a G League stint, and he doesn't overwhelm or do anything interesting down there, and he's just a shitty down there in that league. I'll bet you that's true. And that may be part of the reason why LeBron's like, we're not sending my son to the G League. We're not doing it because he might get exposed down there and it'll show even more of the farce of this whole thing with his son playing with them on the team. Seriously. Smooth saying Clippers are a better run team than the Lakers for all their faults. Their front office is better. That's for sure right now. That's not always been the case between the histories of those teams. For sure. Most of the time, the Lakers were very much better run than the Clippers. But it's kind of like it's interesting because Jerry West has something to do with this because he did come and help as an advisor for Steve Ballmer and the Clippers in the last few years. And that may have had a big impact. I mean, West was around and building the Kobe Bryant Shaq pairing in the 2000s. And he was the guy who got the Lakers Kobe. So in some ways, it's like you don't have Kobe Bryant on the Lakers without Jerry West, is basically what I'm saying right now. And then he left shortly after that pairing. They won a championship. He didn't feel like he was being thanked or appreciated enough. So he walked and he left the Lakers and went to the Grizzlies. And in some ways, the Lakers have not been run well since Jerry West left. And seriously, they have not been run well at all. And in some ways, the gain of Steve Ballmer and the Clippers is Jerry West comes and works for them for the last part of his career before he dies. Yeah, yeah, and that's part of it right there. Andrew's saying that the Clippers don't control any of their picks until 2030, and they're stuck paying a declining Kawhi and Harden just because of their new arena. Lakers are run like a circus, though. Yeah, they both have problems. And I mean, the injuries to Kawhi are the hugest problems for the Clippers. If he had stayed healthy and they'd had certain things happen, they might have been a totally different kind of thing that happened in the last 5 years or so. But unfortunately, Kawhi Leonard has not been load managed correctly, and he's been missing a lot of games. They just can't get any continuity. It's just what it is. That's right. Andrew said, I wonder if Kawhi is going to retire soon. He might have to. I mean, there were some murmurs the last time he got hurt that is like something he'll never fully recover from, and that he may need to retire. It's really sad. The idea of what Kawhi Leonard could have been in his career is really, really sad. And that's why you shouldn't half-ass your career, Vince Carter, is because in some ways Kawhi half-assed his career with injuries and stuff. And well, he got a half-ass career from it. It's sad, but true. Look, Kawhi Leonard half-assed his career. He could have been so much more in so many different ways. And don't tell me it's just because of injuries. No, that dude was soft, and he sat a lot of times when he shouldn't have. And he maybe should have just played through it. Maybe if he tackled things a bit differently in some ways, it could have been a different outcome for him in his career. Because in some ways, he's just as talented as LeBron. And if he had had the longevity and the health, he could have been like LeBron in some ways with the stat accumulations. Seriously, Kawhi Leonard. He really could have. Mike saying, not gonna lie, Ballmer is rich and seems like a nice guy, but he made the Windows Phone, and his Kawhi Clippers product has a similar fate. Yeah, I mean, they're already on their way down. The Paul George experiment's over. He's now in Philadelphia. And, Kawhi Leonard has not had any kind of major success in LA at all. And what a dumb move. You should have stayed here and collected another championship, Kawhi. You would have been well more on your way and being one of the top players ever to play in the history of the NBA if you had just stayed in Toronto. You really screwed up. Somebody did a simulation, and it showed in the simulation that the Raptors would have three-peated if Kawhi had stayed around Toronto and kept together. They did simulations, and they're like, yeah, we definitely repeated. And not only that, we won the next year also. It's a pretty interesting thread. And talking about what would have happened if Kawhi had not left Toronto. It's very, very interesting. Andrew saying, apparently Kawhi is yet to participate in training camp. Yeah, he's hurt already. He's definitely hurt already. Kareem saying the worst thing we did as Toronto fans was give Vince a standing ovation. He now feels like everything has been smoothed over and won't apologize. I'm a Vince guy, but I don't hear sorry. He's dead to me. Yeah, it is what it is. And listen, in some ways, I'll just be glad when this circus is over and we can just go back to business and Vince is just not being thrown in our face. In some ways, look, we're going to see highlights of him all year long, celebrating the 30th anniversary, and there's going to be different events where he's going to be at. But in some ways, once again, it's about the young Raptors and coming back and building back up this team and development. And that's the concentration for me. Some of the other Raptors fans may be more into the purple and celebrating Vince more than the team. And well, that just shows your level of fandom as casuals. Us, the Raptor Freak family, we're about the team and who's going to play tonight against the Wizards and watching these youngsters like Jamal Shed and Ulrich Shamshay. That's what we're talking about. Kareem, man, I hope he can do something, like even just a little bit. I mean, we're not even asking for a whole lot at this point, Vince. Just acknowledge you were wrong and maybe apologize to the Toronto fans for giving up on us. That's all we want. Is that you don't have to apologize to Rob Babcock. You don't have to apologize to the Raptors team. You should maybe apologize to your teammates that were on your team with you at this time, like Alvin Williams and Morris Peterson. But apologizing to fans would go a long way because, like I've said, in some ways, his energy towards the Raptors fans is still op energy. Seriously, everybody's mad at DeMar and saying, "Oh, you're an op because you're in Kendrick Lamar's video," not like us. But the real op energy is coming from Vince. If you really look at it below the surface, Raptors fans, seriously, because this motherfucker thinks we're a joke. In some ways, he's always hated Raptors fans because we booed the hell out of him for like over a decade. And in some ways, he's not acknowledging us in any of this stuff. It's not like he gets up there and says, "I'm so proud to be going to the Hall of Fame and represent all the great Toronto fans." Has he said anything like that? No, he does not acknowledge the fans of the Toronto Raptors. If he says anything like, I appreciate the Toronto Raptors fans, you won't hear him say that, y'all. I'm telling you. He's going to say stuff to the organization. He may say things to his old teammates that he played with when he was on the Raptors. He may say something to the current players. But he's not going to acknowledge us, the fans, because in some ways, like I said, he's got that real ops energy like DeMar. You guys think DeMar does because he sat in a Kendrick Lamar video. No, he has that ops energy for us. He hates Toronto Raptors fans. I'm telling you right now, Vince Carter hates Toronto Raptors fans. And you think that he likes us? No, he doesn't. And everybody out there kissing his ass as Toronto Raptors fans, you're idiots. In some ways, you don't even understand this guy's your op. And you're like kissing his butt, and he loves that. He loves it so much. You idiots. Mike's saying A Bronx Tale is a famous kids movie from 80s or 90s. Isn't that with like that Kaz Parlamentari guy or something like that? Yeah, it's like but there is like mobster stuff in it. Obviously, because you just talked about a part where they take the guy to the bathroom. Yeah, it's like a kids movie version of Wise Guys or something like that. Or what's that movie with Ray Liotta? The one where he's playing the gangster. It's not Wise Guys. I forget what it's called. You know the one I'm talking about. It's got Joe Pesci in it too. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Monique is saying W stream, W vibes. I am over my time. She's giving me my cutoff. Go Raptors. And hang on. She's saying, good times, Lex. Good times approaching. Getting up for the season. Appointments coming at the first. Thanksgiving time, etc. Miss everyone. There you go. She's got very busy life, and it's going to get even busier because the Raptors season is here, and she has to go to the games, and she will be down there. Super fan Mo, we love you. Thank you for the cutoff. Mike saying Robert De Niro is the father of the main character. I think I remember him being in that movie Bronx Tale. Bronx Tale, yeah. Let's see. Kareem saying, wow, Bronx Tale reference. That movie made me believe that interracial dating was a real thing even before The Bodyguard. Yeah, or Jungle Fever, or different movies that were around that time. Very, very cool. Blackhawk saying, if 2 out of the 4 rookies have a good year, then the draft is a success. I think that's a good mark. I like that, Neil. I like that. And I think that's very likely. I think that Shed's a slam dunk. I think that Shed's going to be just really awesome breath of fresh air for the Raptors in all kinds of ways. And it's not totally clear who the other one might be. It could be Shamshay. It could be Carlson. It could be Mobo. It could be Jacoby still. Jacoby Walter coming back from the injury could be very overwhelmingly awesome. Hopefully. That's what I'm hoping. But I like what you're saying here. What if we get 3 out of the 5? What if there are 5 rookies, just so you know? We have 5 rookies this year. And actually, we may have more depending on whether Jamison Battle makes this team. So he could be a rookie that's in there, and we have 6 rookies on our roster all of a sudden. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Mike saying Shed puts them in the bathroom like that one scene with JoJo, the whale, and Krispy Kreme, and bad bet guy got sent there. Okay, I'm not totally remembering the movies too specifically, Mike, but this is pretty funny reference, and I'm sure people that are remembering know what to say. Blackhawk saying Garrett Temple's the only vet we need. Yeah, it's nice to have Garrett. It's nice to have Kelly. It's nice to have Jakob. It's nice to have Chris. And it's really those 4 guys are the oldest guys on our team. And, only 3 of them are over 30. And then Jakob is going to be 30 in like a year from now or something. So, yeah, most of this team is very young, 25 and under. And that's just the build and the age pyramid of the Raptors currently. That's right. Stargate saying, Lex, I was referring to Andrew, not you, with that hockey fan young prospects comment. Come on, I would never call you a hockey fan, Lex. No, I just thought that young prospects comment is like, I feel like that's not tethered to any particular sport. I think that you have a prospect that you're interested on your team, like Shamshay, and it's apropos. So I don't know. I don't know. Andrew was out of pocket with the statement. I didn't detect anything like that. It's all good. And thank you for not calling me a hockey fan. I appreciate that, Stargate. Seriously. Andrew saying, and like said, young prospect isn't just a hockey term. I'll agree with that. And Andrew saying, Mike, why do you keep calling him Schneed? I think that's a spell correct. He's not meaning to put it in that way. It could very well be that Mike's got a spell correct that makes it say Sneed instead of Shed. Yeah, Seymour's laughing. Mike's saying the WNBA has to make a choice, and the unfair version gets a lot of money. Hopefully they aren't greedy. Yeah, Mike, I don't know. I'm not jaded in that way to think that it has to be a choice like that. I think that they can have a genuinely organic product that has no manipulation that's entertaining. And in some ways, they're proving it right now. In some ways, they had a good game last night and a lot of people watched. And honestly, if they were railroading things to be a certain way, Liberty wins last night. So the Lynx coming back from under 18 to win the game last night, that's not script writing. That in some ways is just organic gamesmanship. And all of a sudden, boom, you have a story that's organically made that's awesome. And people are tuning in. In some ways, they set up the next game better because they got to play again in New York. And let's see if New York can defend their home court in the second game against the Lynx and tie up the series. It's much better anticipation and building to make people want to keep watching than the finals of the Mavs versus the Celtics. So I'm not jaded like this, Mike. And I think if Kathy Engelbert is smart, she does not manipulate her league to help Caitlin Clark get more of a spotlight and do stuff like that. No, just let the women play and let their merits and how good the teams are and the coaching and the players determine who's getting where. Because like I said, we know that in some ways the NBA is like the WWE and it's sports entertainment and it turns us off. So the WNBA, if you have some sort of organic thing going on and you are up and up, we may be more gravitating towards you in the years to come because of that. So leave it that way. Don't listen to Mike and his bullshit with like, oh, if they really want to make more money, they'll do this. No storyline writing. Fuck that shit. And WNBA, don't be as bad as the NBA on that. Yeah. There you go. Mike's saying Shed, laugh out loud, it has a weird relationship to me. They look similar. Yeah, H and N. So he's just hitting the wrong key on the board because of that. Maybe you got to fix the key. Maybe you got to write it on there. Maybe some of them were worn off. Seymour saying, LeBum getting a tech in preseason game. Man's a certified bum. Yeah, what do? He wastes his time all the way going to a preseason game in Milwaukee on a plane just to get a technical in preseason. Well, you still got to pay that money, LeBron, apparently. Yeah, you still got to pay the fine when you get a technical in preseason, even though the game don't count. There you go. Kareem saying Leafs fans have about 2 weeks before Leafs clean up. Once we're done the cleanup, we will reclaim Jurassic Park. It's a yearly practice. No diss to the Maple Leafs. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. In some ways, I don't know. We'll see which team is doing better because in some ways that kind of determines who gets Jurassic Park as real estate. And it's certain nights, certain things. That was a great period of time when the Leafs and the Raptors were in the playoffs and they both be playing on the same night. And they'd have to fight about who would get Jurassic Park. Notice I'm not calling it Maple Leaf Square. And in some ways, it's like they used to do whoever's the home team and is at home playing in the arena gets to have the park outside during those games. But yeah, there's been weird stuff with this and hierarchy. And the Leafs are in such a weird position as far as like they're kind of scared of the Raptors. And that's why they have to do things like put a big sign outside there and say Maple Leaf Square and put a whole bunch of Leaf legend statues in Jurassic Park because we annexed that place and we made that part of the arena what it was. We made it that everything the Leafs did outside was after the Raptors did it, and it's copycat. So, and Kareem's right in some ways. as far as whichever team's doing better statistically in the standings will probably have more fans showing up outside and watching the games on the big screen in the middle of the winter. And in some ways, the Raptors are not doing so well. There may not be as many diehards down there for Jurassic Park. But if the Leafs are doing pretty good, there may be more Leaf fans in Maple Leaf Square. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see, Cream. I don't know if this is for sure what you're saying. It really does depend on what the diehards think and who's going to actually show up and weather test themselves, depending on how the team's doing. Andrew's saying Jerry West is the only player to win FMVP on the losing team. Yeah, finals MVP. Jerry West won a finals MVP and he lost the finals against the Celtics, but he still was the MVP of the finals. That's a very good little factoid by Andrew, and I knew that one, and I appreciate him bringing it up right now. Yeah, that was a weird period in the league. You're getting a 5-pointer, 150 for you, Andrew. That's right, 150 for you, my guy. Let's see. Carlos saying they tout Bronny as a defensive player, but he has poor defensive reads. Yeah, they can't tout him for offense when it's non-existent. So they have to tout him for something, right, Carlo? So they're going to say, yeah, they're going to pump him up and say, what a brilliant defensive player. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit, because they could give him offensive highlights and say, oh, he's such an offensive gifted guy, but there's nothing there. So they can't do that way. So they have to default say, who's such a good defensive player. Whatever they can do to kiss LeBron James's ass, they're going to do it. Mike's saying apparently ESPN is done pushing him. Things are turning on the story. Yeah, there is an article on there saying that a lot of people are just saying Bronny's not ready. He's not ready. I could have told you that. That motherfucker needed 4 years at USC. You're only rushing him here for your own ego, LeBron, because you know the clock's ticking for yourself. In some ways, that guy should have played 4 years in college, and then he might have been ready then. Maybe, not even for sure. And, the only reason why you did this is your own ego, LeBron. And in some ways, it's very selfish of you to ruin your son's life just so you can play father and son basketball for a year this year. It's so stupid. It's so stupid in some ways. It's like it's forced. It's not organic. That's part of the problem I'm talking about. We want organic things to happen in basketball. And this is forced. This is not an organic thing, Bron and Bronny. It is not organic in the least. Carlos saying, should the Clippers trade Kawhi now so at least they can restart a rebuild? I don't know how much value he has at this point. I don't know who would be gambling and sending the right kind of things to the Clippers to get value for him at this point. In some ways, Steve Ballmer, you get what you get. You wanted Kawhi so bad that you manipulated things and interfered and probably tampered to get him out of Toronto. Well, you get what you get. This is just what happens. It is what it happens. You're stuck with him. And I don't think they would trade him. I don't think they could, honestly. Andrew's saying, Carlo, I think they're hesitant to start a rebuild because they want good players to play in their new arena. Exactly. They need marketed players. Exactly. This is a big year for the Clippers organization with the rebrand and the new arena. And in some ways, if they just got rid of all their big players like Russell leaving and Paul George, they have to have at least Harden and Leonard to keep some sort of star power to draw people in. They're not going to be very good, and they're going to have a really tough year this year, the Clippers. But at least they've got a brand new arena with lots of bathrooms. That's the whole key right now. Smooth saying Vince is going to be part of the TNT crew. Yeah, this is what I heard. That TNT has hired Vince for their last year, sinking ship, that he's going to be coming on there. If he's the replacement for Draymond Green, it's an improvement. I'm going to say that right now because I hate Draymond doing TNT. He's been awful. He's not Charles Barkley. You cannot groom him to be the replacement for Charles Barkley, ESPN, and NBA media machine because he's just not likable. Charles Barkley's a likable person. That's why he's amazing. But Draymond Green is not likable. And trying to use him in that role has been stupid. Now, if Vince is taking his spot as far as being the broadcast, that's fantastic. But Vince is only doing Tuesday nights. And in some ways, this is kind of weird because you would say Vince was already working for ESPN, ABC, but I guess he's not anymore. And now he's going to work for 1 year for TNT in the last year, and then they're gone forever. Yeah, that's not very good job security. And if Vince is making these decisions with his media career, like in any kind of way, he's an idiot because he should have just stayed with ESPN, then go and jump on TNT for the last year, TNT sinking ship. Yeah, it don't make no sense to me. Really doesn't. Andrew's saying, but yeah, I think they should. They need picks, and their current team will cap out as a second round exit. They're kind of in a screwed position no matter what. In some ways, is what I would say, Andrew. The Clippers, they really needed this team to do well, and they didn't. And Steve Ballmer's just wasting money. He's just throwing huge amounts of contracts at those guys that were on the team last year. And yeah, the Clippers get what they get. They get what they get. I'm sorry. That's just how it goes. Todd Bridges is here. Interesting to see Todd Bridges of Different Strokes fame. I know that you're not really Todd Bridges, but is that your real name? That's a cool name. What you talking about, Willis, is what I might say to you if you say something crazy. So let me see what you're saying here. Both Vince and T-Mac couldn't believe we won the title in 2019. That's the ultimate vindication. Yeah, I love that. I love your comment, Todd Bridges, and you are definitely fine with that. Gary Coleman would be proud. He's smiling from up above. Listen, I love that too, because in some ways, like I said, Vince Carter never wanted the Raptors to win a championship, guys. I'm going to say that right now. Now, McGrady probably didn't care. In some ways, he's probably like, yeah, I hope that, that's kind of cool. But Vince, it probably really pissed him off in some ways that the Raptors won a championship. He can act like he cared or liked it, but I don't think he did. And I love what Todd Bridges said here is a vindication. So you got a three-pointer, my guy. You're officially on the three-pointer list on the dunks chart. I love the statement. This is great stuff. First comment, very good first comment. Mischief's here. Good to see the base man. Can't wait for game tonight. I asked Vince Carter for a photo. He said no. You saw Vince Carter and you tried to get a picture with him and he said no. Yeah, fuck that guy. That's a jerk, man. He should have let the base man have a picture with him. That's no good. I don't like that at all. I do not like that at all. Is that Garrett Temple in the chat? Oh, wow. I guess Tommy is still kind of doing a little bit of emoticon stuff because he wasn't on there before. That's very interesting. Mike's saying Goodfellas. Yeah, Goodfellas is the name of the movie. It's not Wise Guys. Goodfellas. Goodfellas. Yeah. You think I'm funny? What do you mean I'm funny? You think I'm funny like a clown? What do you think I'm a fucking funny fucking clown? Pencil in the ear. Yeah, that movie. Yeah. Smooth saying Tracy McGrady's Mitchell and Ness jersey for the Raptors is way more popular than either his Magic or Rockets jerseys. Yeah, that's the crazy thing. It's like, I mean, it's the look part of it is the look. That white number 1 that Evelyn has is such a beautiful jersey. The Tracy McGrady original Raptors white dinosaur jersey. And it's just the look of it. In some ways, the Magic jersey and the Rockets jersey is just not as cool, even if he was a way better player on those jerseys. Way better player. But that's true. That look is so cool, Smooth. And he's also saying people eat up his Raptor stuff, much like Vince. Yeah. McGrady's Raptors jersey is really popular considering the output and what he did and how long he was here. It is a very popular jersey. It's true. Yeah. Seymour saying, I agree, but that Ricketts one is real popular. Rockets one. The Rockets one. Yeah, a lot of people wear the number 1 Tracy McGrady Rockets one too. It's weird. Yeah, you guys are right. The Orlando one's not as prevalent. The Raptors one and the Rockets one are the two more prevalent ones. I think part of it is this. China loved the Rockets for a while with Yao Ming, and he played with Tracy at the time. So there's a lot of McGrady 1 Rockets jerseys that were bought in China, and they're just in circulation all over the place. That's probably one of the most popular jerseys in China historically is a Tracy McGrady Rockets number 1. A lot of people have that jersey over there. Trust me. A lot of people in China do. Yeah. Andrew's saying Americans hate our team but love our apparel. Yeah, I think that's kind of true. I think that actually, it's weird. Some people over time, we've had 30 years of Raptors basketball now, respect our organization at this point. They don't really look at us as a joke. Even if we're not a very good team this year, they do have a respect for our culture and the things we've accomplished as a team, getting the championship in 2019, and just kind of the cool things we've done stylistically. Sure. I think that some people down there don't hate the Raptors as much as we think. It's just the media hates us. The media down there hates us. A lot of fans are kind of like, I actually kind of respect the Raptors because they are in a detriment and they have it a little bit harder than the American teams. And they always seem to be competitive still. And in some ways, I really respect that. I think NBA fans down south do in some ways like that, unless they're a fan of a team that we absolutely fucked up, like the Sixers or the Bucks. Some of them may have real animosity towards us because they're like, oh, but the pain of Kawhi's shot. I hate them so much for that. There's that action, but there's a lot of fans who don't really have any problem with us. They're kind of like, you know what? I have respect for the Raptors. They're not my favorite team. They're not a team I get to watch all the time, but I kind of have a respect for them because Masai and what they build up there in some ways. I think that's true. Seymour saying, every time I see people from the streets, stateside rocking our jersey, I stare like a Karen. I love it. In some ways, Scotty wore a Raptors jersey before he was a Raptor at Florida State campus. There's a picture of him wearing a Tracy McGrady jersey on FSU campus the one year he went as a Seminole. And in some ways, that was cool. That was foreshadowing in some ways. So, I mean, look, as a guy who wore Raptor stuff in the States, you got to remember also, don't get mad at those people down there. They may be actually Canadians living in the States, rocking us in that stateside. And in some ways, that's brave in some cases. Trust me, I know. I was wearing Raptors hats and shirts in 1997 around Tallahassee, Florida. And yeah, people would either bully me or they'd be like, what the fuck are you wearing, bro? But yeah, don't do that to the Americans that do choose to wear our gear. Don't look at them and like stare at them like a Karen. Be proud of them because they're repping us either way, even if they're only repping us because they like the dinosaur. That's what I'll say. I'll say that. Smooth saying, actually, anything Raptors Dino related or blue, purple are top 3 sellers for them, right up there with Michael Jordan's Bulls apparel. Yeah. Yeah. It's cool jersey. We did so good. John Batove Group did so good setting us up with our motif in our universe at the very beginning. And it's iconic and it still reverberates to this day. It really, really does. It really, really does. Classic card. All right, Trevor's getting me back on track. Thank you, Commissioner Fun. He didn't commission these classic cards to come to me have me sleeping on them. So, okay, this is a good card for today. I just grabbed the first one in here. And 11:36 is the time, so we'll make sure we get this right. All right, let me cover up the name. And first full name answer gets the trivia points, guys. So be ready to look and see. This is somebody who's been in the news today, actually. And this is actually a really easy card. So write this in real fast and get the spelling right if you can. If David's here, he can adjudicate, but he's not checked in. So I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And I'll do the points on the spreadsheet. Although I may go there and David might be in the spreadsheet and writing it in, even though he's not here. There you go. Mike's going to get it today. It's Victor Oladipo, and Smooth is right behind. Victor made his debut as a broadcaster yesterday, guys. He was on TV, on NBA TV, wearing a suit, or ESPN or somewhere. But yeah, Victor's career is over, I guess. And he's gone to the media now. But there's Victor Oladipo. It's not really a classic card, just from a couple years ago, I guess. Victor Oladipo on the Miami Heat. So I'm going to say 100 points to Mike on this one. Just getting in just before Smooth Brown Man. Let me go to the classic card and see. He's writing it in. See, David is here. He's writing it in already. So 100 points for Logical Raptors Fanatic. Thank you, Commissioner of Trivia, David Saborn. Even though you're not in the chat, he is here writing it in. There you go. You spelled it wrong? Oh yeah, Smooth spelled it very wrong there. It looks like in that part. Yeah. All right, let me see. Where am I in the chat? I'll come back to it. Smooth saying, as soon as they're in stock, they're gone. The classic Raptors jerseys down south. Mike saying the NBA needs to stop this slimy script stuff. I'm just worried because Big Brother League loves to script us out of things. Hopefully the WNBA team can compete without constraints. Well, this is why I'm already vetting this thing with the expansion drafts, Mike. We don't even have a name for our team, and I'm already calling bullshit on fairness with the Golden State Valkyries getting their own exclusive expansion draft by themselves. If you do an expansion draft, usually there should be 2 teams picking off each other, just like the Grizzlies and the Raptors when they first started. And in some ways, bringing a team in by themselves, they get to just cherry pick from the whole entire league team players from whoever is not protected. Now, when we come in next year, we're going to come in with the probable Portland Roses, and they will probably be picking alternate with us. And that in some ways, 50% chances us on the expansion draft pool because we're having to pick alternatively with the Portland WNBA team. So do you understand, Mike, how I'm already kind of illuminating how there could be an unfair thing for the WNBA Toronto team already, and as much as is unfair for the Portland WNBA team also, but very, very good for the Golden State WNBA team. That's what I'm saying. They announced the coach for the WNBA team, the Valkyries, yesterday, and she'll be the first Asian American coach to coach a women's basketball team on professional level. So it's a big deal. So, yeah, I hope there's no slimy stuff. And, yeah, we don't want manipulation. We don't want bullshit. We will overcome it as a market and as a city. And Larry Tannenbaum and Teresa Resch will find a way to get a WNBA championship in Toronto. I know they will. But that's right. We don't want the slimy stuff. We don't want them to just say, oh, you're the Canadian team. You should just be happy to be here. No, we want to compete. And we want to be one of the top teams in the league year in, year out. And that's why we're here. We're not here just to be giving you an international flavor, WNBA. We're here to compete and try and win some WNBA cups. That's what I'm all about right there. And I know Teresa is also. That's right. That's right. Andrew's saying would have been funny if the Celtics took Bronny with the 54th pick. Well, it's been alluded and brought out recently that the Warriors did strongly consider taking Bronny James in the second round before the Lakers, but they didn't want to upset LeBron. In some ways, this is part of the farce of Bronny James is everybody in the draft knew that if you took Bronny James before the Lakers wanted to in the second round, you were going to upset LeBron James and feel the wrath of him, whether on the court as a player or in his very, very powerful behind the scenes power over the league as the league face. And the Warriors decided, no, even if we think Bronny is a good player, we're not going to chance this because we don't want to anger the great LeBron. That was actually came out recently that the Warriors did strongly consider taking him. In some ways that the Warriors had done that would have been kind of like an FU to the Lakers and LeBron James. And it would have been kind of funny. In some ways, Warriors fans hate the Lakers and the Lakers fans hate the Warriors. So it would go right along with the grudge match of that. If the Warriors had selected Bronny James before the Lakers could. That would have been so crazy. It kind of would have been funny, man. Smooth saying Leonard has no value right now. Yeah, he's damaged goods. And in some ways, if they did try to trade him, they're better off just holding on to him and hoping he's healthy than trading him and doing that. And like people said on this chat, it's true. I think the Clippers need some star power for their new arena and everything that's going on there. I think that's an exactly right point right there. Mike's saying, nice. The Inuit Dome has enough bathrooms because Shed is going to lock up Harden and all them weak guards. Laugh out loud. Shed an off day, going to take all these guys and lock them in the bathrooms at the new Inuit Dome. That's crazy. That's crazy. I like that, Mike. That's pretty funny. Smooth saying to trade Leonard, the Clippers would have to attach another young player to entice the other team. I think that's true. And they may be not willing to do that. The Clippers really screwed up when they started the whole Kawhi Leonard, Paul George period because they traded SGA to Oklahoma to get Paul George. And boy, did they regret that. I'll bet you they wish they had SGA right now over this whole farce of what they've done the last 5 years. So much more. They'd be in such a better position like the Thunder are right now if they had never, ever done what Leonard wanted them to do. Uncle Dennis and Leonard were terrorists as far as screwing up the Raptors repeat and then also screwing up the Clippers with their demands for Paul George and stuff. That was such a dumb idea. Like, why did they think pairing up Leonard and George was going to be such a slam dunk to be so amazing? No, it wasn't. And it was a big, huge fucking fail is what it was in the end. It was very much a big fucking fail. That's right. Trevor's saying Bryce James going to be the better player, and his brother will be watching him on TV together with LeBron when he retires. Yeah, I think that Trevor's right on point right here. I have way more faith in the son of LeBron James that's younger, Bryce James. He's taller, and he has certain attributes to him. And in some ways, he may not be rushed along like Bronny just for the ego of LeBron. And he'll actually get the right development, the right time on university, and actually come in the league and actually be able to play. I'm not that much of a hater. I'm not just blindly hating LeBron because for Bronny. I just know basketball, and I know Bronny is not an NBA player. But I could look at Bryce and see that there's a prospect that he could be very much a bona fide, deserving NBA player, not like his brother, Bronny James. So and I think Trevor's exactly on point with this one. I think he's exactly on point. Mike's saying international people are like our underdog style more. Yeah, I've always rooted for underdogs. Maybe it's conditioning from watching media and movies and TV as a kid. You always wanted to go for the kid who's getting bullied, and then they rise up and win in the end. In some ways, that's our position in the league as the Raptors. And in some ways, that's why it's so awesome when we do rise up and win an NBA championship in 2019. It's really awesome. Yeah, Kareem's got my cutoff once again. I am a half an hour over my time. Stargate saying, remember, there is another Magic player whose number one jersey is even more popular than Tracy's own. Heck, I have one, Penny Hardaway. That's right. That's right. Penny Hardaway and Tracy McGrady make it kind of ambiguous who should get their jersey retired in Orlando for number one, because Penny's number one was way more iconic than Tracy's in some ways in Orlando. And I totally get this. And I knew who you were talking about before you said it too. Very, very cool, Stargate. I'm glad you brought up the great Anthony Hardaway real quick. A fantastic, brilliant career that was cut short by injuries. And if people don't know who Penny Hardaway is, and watch some old Penny Hardaway highlights, seriously, the guy was absolutely ahead of his time and so cool. And I was a big Magic fan when he got drafted to the Magic and came there and played with Shaq. Man, that was such a cool team to watch. the early expansion Magic before the Raptors existed. That was my team before the Raptors. I was watching the Magic like I watch the Raptors now at that time. So I'm very familiar with Anthony Hardaway. Very, very, very familiar with him. That's right. Trevor's saying, I always rock all my Raptors hats wherever I go. There you go, Trevor. You're a real one. I did the same thing when I went to Europe this summer. I wore Raptors everywhere, all over Estonia and everywhere I went. And I was repping us all over the place. And it was championship gear, too. I was like Toronto Raptors NBA champions hat, Toronto Raptors NBA champions shirts. Yeah. Yeah. And I didn't really see a whole lot of people wearing sports shirts over there when I was there. Very, very few. There were some people wearing Laker stuff here and there, but for the most part, nobody was wearing any sports, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, hockey, nothing. Nothing. Nobody was wearing sports apparel over there, hardly at all. Yeah, wrong spelling. Wrong spelling. It's all good. Let's see. Smooth saying, I have the Penny Hardaway one, Mitchell and Ness jersey as well. That's a nice jersey, I'm sure. Is it a classic Orlando Magic early jersey with the pinstripes? Ooh, Magic had some nice jerseys early on in their career too, in their history. The Magic came out with really fire jerseys, and their court too in the very beginning was really, really nice. The Orlando Magic back then. Like that very early Magic stuff was really cool, really, really cool. And they had a good mascot too, all the way through. Stuff the Magic Dragon is a pretty cool mascot, also. Very, very intelligent and smart idea for a mascot to be named Stuff the Magic Dragon. Yeah, Stuff the Magic Dragon lives in Orlando. Yeah, yeah. Mike saying Shaq's jersey sells well in Orlando. Yeah, see, Shaq situation with Orlando is similar to us with Vince. It's very similar. Some people down there still hate that they've retired Shaq's jersey in Orlando because the way he sold out the Magic was really bad at that time, and went to LA. And really, Magic fans hate Shaq. They really do. A lot of Magic fans still hate Shaq to this day. And it's a very similar thing. Like if you have a Magic fan that comes at you and says, Raptor fan, why don't you like Vince Carter? All you have to do is turn around and say, well, do you like Shaquille O'Neal? And that's all you have to say to them. Because in some ways, it's a very similar story. Now, Shaq, in some ways, the reason why he upset them is because the promise of what Shaq and Penny could have been was so amazing. And he turned his back on it for Hollywood and going to the Lakers. And in some ways, it wasn't as egregiously bad him leaving and what he did, but he did. There was a lot of friction and a lot of like kind of weirdness with him and the front office of the Magic at that time. So it's a very similar situation. And in some ways, there's probably Magic fans that are just like us with the Vince Carter with Shaq. And they're like, I don't acknowledge Shaq getting his jersey retired by the Magic. I bet you there are people like that down there. I'm telling you right now. Telling you there probably is. Yeah. Yeah. Smooth saying, I have a bunch of players. Actually, I don't wear them though. Thinking about donating them. Black pinstripes. Yeah. The number one Penny Hardaway Magic jersey with the black pinstripes. Ooh, that's a nice one right there. That's right. You got Scott Styles. Spell correct. Has got him every time. He's saying Chris Webber, Kevin Johnson, Scottie Pippen, Sean Kemp, and Vince Carter. That's quite a good jersey collection there, Smooth. Very, very cool. Michael Jordan, Penny, Ray Allen. Very good. Damn. Mike's like, damn. All right, let's do a recap, guys, real quick and make sure I didn't miss anything else. Let's see. All right, tonight we are playing the Wizards in Washington. The injuries for them are Malcolm Brogdon and Sadiq Bey will not be available. It'll be basically the same Wizards team we saw on Sunday. We'll see if there's any changes to their starting lineup. Who knows? Probably would be very similar to what it was before. Our team does have injuries. Emmanuel Quickly is ruled out for tonight with his wrist. RJ Barrett is out for the rest of the preseason. Jacoby Walter is out also, and Bruce Brown is out also. I'm speculating that the Raptors will start Davion Mitchell, Grady Dick, Oshai Abaji, Scotty Barnes, and Jakob Poeltl tonight. The referees for our game in Washington tonight are crew chief Tony Brothers, the magician Murat Kugat, and rookie Agan Abazi. And they're not a friendly crew for the Raptors. In fact, they favor the Wizards. Just so y'all know, they favor the Wizards, which is kind of crazy in this situation. What else did I have? We were talking about the WNBA is going to be switching the finals to best of 7 next year, and they're also expanding their regular season to 44 games. This is awesome. So we're going to have a lot of games to watch for our new WNBA team down the road. Very, very cool. All right, there is one spot open in our fantasy basketball league right now. In fact, you know what, guys? I got to really fine tune this and make sure we get exactly who's going to be playing this year in the league, because I might actually cut 4 teams and make it just a 16-team league, because it seems like we're right at the right spot for that right now. So we'll see. If I don't get any strong interest for the last spots, I'm going to cut the league to 16, and we're just going to have 16 teams this year instead of 20. So we're going to have to figure this out soon. So if anybody wants to join right now, there's an open spot. I just put a link in there. You follow that link, you can join our fantasy basketball league for the Raptor Freak channel right there. There you go. There you go. Yeah. Let's see. Smooth Sand. All Mitchell and Ness retros, never worn, labels as well. I have baseball and a few hockey ones as well. You definitely look smooth, most likely. That's pretty funny. Trevor's saying we will never see another rivalry like Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. That may be true, although the stuff that's going on with Clark and Reese in the WNBA is like the WNBA version in some ways. Smith saying, I never wore the jerseys. You just collected them. You just put them on the wall, and that's it. All right, guys, thanks for watching me today. Appreciate everybody checking in with the Raptor Freak on the preview stream for Washington and the Raptors tonight in D.C. Let's go Raptors. Play together, play controlled, play within each other's abilities and development, and also get a lot of assists. And the more we play as a team, the other team's not going to play as much as it like a team, because they're just kind of not like that. We can win. And in some ways, this is not going to be easy. This game's going to be more difficult than the one on Sunday. Trust me. And y'all need to come out. I'm very much looking forward to Scotty coming back and playing tonight. That's very much a huge thing to very much look forward to, is the return of 4. And hopefully he can get out there and lead the Raptors to a big victory. In some ways, Scott, this is an opportunity for you tonight to show a new era of Scotty Barnes. Come out there and control the game completely as the most dominant player and the best player in this game tonight, and control it to the point where you are making the Raptors win tonight no matter what. In some ways, RJ Barrett did this on Sunday, and he managed to do it in 14 minutes of the game. And in some ways, you could do this with Grady tonight as a 1-2 punch. Get out there and just score a barrage right away, dominate them right away, break their will, and route them wire to wire, just like you did on Sunday. In some ways, the Wizards don't deserve a competitive game against us, because we are a better team. Where we may not have the best talent overall in some ways. I think we have better talent than them, but we need to come out there and continue to play as a team. The dogged defense of our guards is a key to this whole thing. So, yeah, get out there and play strong and play together, Raptors. We're proud of you, and we're so happy to be able to get the privilege to watch you guys play once again tonight in the preseason in D.C. against the Wizards. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching me. Let's go Raptors. Let's kick some ass tonight. And let's get 2-0 in preseason. Keep Coach Darko's preseason perfect record perfect by continuing to play and win and beat the Wizards today. And then on Sunday, it's the Celtics. And that'll be on a whole other level of challenge. That's for sure. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Mike saying, ooh, and Smith saying, happy Thanksgiving to y'all. Yeah, it's Thanksgiving weekend. Y'all have a great weekend with your family and celebrate your Canadian Thanksgiving this weekend. That's right. I'll see y'all tomorrow for a reaction Saturday morning to the game tonight. Let's hope it's a good game and the Raptors win by a big margin and a wire-to-wire win, that they just kick their butt just like on Sunday. And we'll have a good, jolly old time talking about it tomorrow in the morning at 9:30 a.m. Saturday morning. All right, y'all. Let's go Raptors. And Scotty, we're going to be so happy to see you return to an NBA court tonight. And you come out there with your new responsibility as the face of the franchise and the team leader. Let's see what your leadership does. Does it add up to a W in a game that absolutely y'all should win? It better. That's what I want to see. Let's go. Let's go, Isaac Campbell. I love it, man. Let's go, Raptors, baby. Yeah.